insight, foresight, more sight. The clock on the wall reads midnight.
All right. Good evening from New York City. It's the Gorilla Underground. What is going on? So, man, I mean, we saw this coming. Everybody saw it coming. Everybody knew what was going to happen, but we still were kind of uncertain. But, of course, they weren't going to release these things. Man. They released pages upon pages upon pages of blacked out material. It was just black pages. They just should have released a bunch of black paper for that matter. You can't read any of it. Some of it was already public, and they blanked out whatever had Trump's name on it anyway. They still left some of the stuff that had Trump's. It's a complete freaking disaster. They already admitted that they didn't release everything which they were mandated to do, and they didn't do it. They said they need more time to go through the files that did not exist. They didn't exist. We've been doing this for months now on Gorilla Underground, on America Unplugged, while the rest of the alt media is twiddling their asses, talking about fucking nonsense. Right? We've been talking about this here. The real conspiracies that we can prove, right? And we've been covering the disappearance of the Epstein files. They don't exist, even though they did exist, and they were on Pam Bondi's desk, and then they disappeared. They just disappeared. We don't know where they are. And now they reappeared, and they have thousands and thousands of pages of stuff that somebody took the time to read and black out and put them all out there. Like, hey, let's put them out there. We've released the Epstein files. What an absolute and total disaster. A bunch of hot garbage. My God, from the most transparent administration in the history of these United States of America. Thank you, Mr. Donald Trump. Thank you, Pam Bondi. Thank you so much, Kash Patel. Dan Bongino quit. He's like, peace. Didn't I tell you about Dan Bongino? I knew something was up with that guy. Listen, Kash Patel is not leaving until they kick his ass out. And I doubt that's going to happen because he's set up shop on the south side of Donald Trump's rectum. He lives there. That's where he does his day-to-day operations. He's very happy there. And Donald Trump is happy to host him up his ass. So no problem there. But Dan Bongino, on the other hand, I think he got a taste of reality while he was podcasting and he was talking all that nonsense, feeding you all that nonsense, all the nonsense that you wanted to hear. And he's like, all right, let me cash in, and I'm cashing in, and I'm cashing in. But I think he was a true believer. I think he was a true believer. And when he got picked to be the deputy director of the FBI, an agency of the government that he had no clue about and never had any experience with, he took it. Of course, it's a huge honor. It is, right? And he's like, you know what? I want to go serve my country, and I'm going to release these files that they didn't want to release. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to give it to the people. I've been talking about this for years upon years upon years, Dan Bongino is thinking. I've been telling the people that they don't want to release this because it's a Democratic freaking conspiracy. Joe Biden and all these people are in it, but not any of us. And certainly not the Orange God King, Orangezilla. I was going to call him Garfield, but that's an insult to Garfield. I love Garfield. What's up, Garfield? According to Ashley, Garfield and I have a lot in common. What's up, Ashley? If you're there, I don't know. I haven't checked the chat. What's going on? Sorry about America Unplugged yesterday. That was my fault. I couldn't be there, and Tony couldn't be there, so there's no recording. We are the ones that do the recording and set up everything, so it wasn't going to happen. Year-end America Unplugged next week, Lord willing. I think I'm going to start early. I'm not sure. I wanted to do a big thing, but Knights of the Storm comes on at 2:00, and I don't want to overshadow that, so I might start like an hour earlier and have people on. I know Ash is going to be on with me, and a few other people. I'm not sure yet, but I want to do it like an end of the year thing. I'm definitely going to do it here for Gorilla Underground. I'm going to go like 3 hours or something. I'm going to have people come on and we'll go over the happenings of this year. It's been loaded this year. They took another oil tanker, killing more innocent people in Venezuela. All good, no problem there. Nothing to see here. Not I, said the cat. They didn't do nothing over there, right? But anyway, back to the Epstein files that were released, but they weren't. They released some document. There's so many things that went down. Like I'm gonna ask certain people to come on next week, and we can zero in on all of it. We're gonna do a general overview here today of some of the stuff, and Twisted has joined me in the second hour for a little bit, Lord willing. I didn't even send them a link. I have to go ahead and do that. But they put out there, and we'll go over it here today. There was a section of it talking about a 14-year-old girl that had accused Donald Trump of certain things, or there was a whole thing that Jeffrey Epstein brought this young girl into Mar-a-Lago. And I mean a young girl, dude. And we knew that Jeffrey Epstein was a scuzz bucket, right? We knew that he was into little girls, like little girls, but I wasn't 100% sold on Donald Trump. I knew he at bare minimum knew about it. I know he's protecting pedophiles. But to actually partake, and there was some evidence for it, like as far as, Maria Farmer and what she had said about Donald Trump going up to the penthouse with Jeffrey Epstein and spending time with girls up there, but I was like, maybe, I don't know. Well, it's getting harder and harder to deny that. And me, I detest the Orange God King. I think he's a piece of shit. I think he's crazy. And I've never been shy about saying that, right? But I don't know. Maybe it's me, and I'm trying to block this out and say, well, these things, maybe it wasn't that way, right? Maybe it wasn't as bad as people are saying. Well, it is probably. It's probably freaking worse, And this is why he is actively trying to stop any of this from becoming public, even when the government has made Donald Trump and the Department of Justice release these things. They're still looking for ways around it, and we will never get full transparency, ever. And for people that go back and they're like, well, why didn't Joe Biden release them? Well, who gives a shit? Who gives a damn? We'll just say, why didn't Joe Biden? Screw him too. Screw Joe Biden and whomever else didn't want to release these files, right? If there was an active scheme to block any of this knowledge from coming out, whomever had a part in it, screw you, right? If you were going to an island to screw around with little kids, fuck you. Fuck you. Not cool in any way, shape, or form. I don't care if you're a Democrat. Most Democrats don't care if you're a Democrat. They don't give a shit about Bill Clinton. Send him to jail. If we can prove that Joe Biden was covering up, send him to freaking jail. Who gives a damn? Send them all to jail, all of them that were hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein doing crazy crap. Trafficking and having sex with 6 sons of bitches, man. 6 sons of bitches. But let's not start covering up for the Orange God King because you've invested time. And you keep telling everybody that he's the dude. It's evident now. If you're still supporting Donald Trump, you are actively supporting people that are at least bare minimum covering up for pedophiles. That's it. Full stop. I'm sorry. That is what it is. A lot of people don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. If you are in any way supporting this guy right now, that's what you're supporting. That is what you are supporting. Also, Top G got his ass knocked out. That was good to see. Fucking fake alpha males. That all this entire MAGA nonsense, far right nonsense that has taken hold and propelled Donald Trump back into the White House, and this freaking Andrew Tate teaching young men how to be alpha males. His ass got knocked out like a bitch last night. The alpha male of all alpha males, Top G, got his ass beat. And you know what? That guy may have actually believed, he may have actually conned himself into believing that he was that guy to get in the ring and get his ass whooped. The way he got his ass whooped by somebody who doesn't even look like a trained fighter. I don't know who the hell that guy is. But he couldn't throw any punches. It was weird. He still beat the shit out of Andrew Tate. We'll show you some of that. And of course, Jake Paul got demolished 2 nights ago. He got his jaw broken. And who didn't see that happening? And he's another one that needed to get his ass kicked in a serious way. Fighting freaking Mike Tyson in his 60s, who was huffing and puffing. Incredible. He ran into something nasty. We'll show you some clips of that. We also have some robots. For any of you that think that this AI thing isn't going to happen, that they're over exaggerating what AI can do, man, we're about to show you some stuff later on in the show. Okay, because it's here now. It's here now. Turning Point USA conference has gone on, and that is a circus of all circuses. And anybody who is currently there is supporting the cover-up of pedophiles. Anybody that is there in support of Turning Point USA and what they're doing and is in favor of Donald Trump is supporting the cover-up of pedophiles. Full stop. Prove me wrong. Turning Point USA is a thing. It's some Nicki Minaj was there talking a bunch of bullshit. It's hilarious. But Vivek Ramaswamy had some good points to make on stage. You need to condemn Donald Trump Vivek Ramaswamy. Tucker Carlson had some incredible things to say. Tucker, to the MAGA. MAGA is falling apart. And thank the Lord. Thank the good Lord above. We have a shot. We still have a shot. We got to get rid of these guys. And then we'll deal with whatever we get next. And we'll be a lot better off. But we need to get rid of the cult leader, and then the cult falls apart. J.D. Vance will not be able to maintain a coalition that is already falling apart. So good for everyone that's left MAGA that's like, you know what? This is too much. This guy's a pedo, or this guy is covering up for pedos, and I don't want anything to do with it. Good for you. Good for you. Thomas Massie is a G. He is top G right now. He is what Andrew Tate was supposed to be. I don't know if I agree with everything he says, but for any of the young men out there, if you're looking for a role model, somebody that actually stands up for what they believe in, no matter what, Thomas Massie gets the nod, right? There's going to be a lot of these fucking fake ass MAGA Republicans that, like Mike Johnson, that don't have a spine, that are going to be turning around, and they're gonna turn their backs on Donald. They're gonna take out the knives because they want to survive politically, and that's the figurative knife, because they want to protect their political lives. They will morph into whatever they need to morph into, right? These people, you'll see more and more of them. You guys don't get any credit. Thomas Massie started this bullshit. He's like, you know what? I don't subscribe to any of this shit. Marjorie Taylor Greene, for whatever the reason she's done it, salutes to you. She's another one. When it was unpopular, she did it, and now she's clearing the way for other people to do it too. So this is falling apart, and it's a beautiful thing. If he is alive in 2028, he will seek to stay in office. The Orange God King will. He's going to contest the election. If he is on the ballot, which is highly unlikely that he will be, but if he is on the ballot and he loses, he will contest the election. If it's not him on the ballot and they put J.D. Vance or anybody else and they lose, they will contest the election. They will never, ever admit defeat. That's like Moses parting the Red Sea, and I am there to witness it. That's what I will have to. If they just leave, I mean, good. That's a good thing for us. But if they just, I'll be incredibly surprised. They're like, yeah, we're good. Bye. It's not happening anymore. That's not the nature of their politics. That's not the nature of their livelihood, the way they live. They are lie, cheat, steal, win at all cost. That Steve Bannon has said as such. But Steve Bannon also said at the beginning of all of this that if they had 2 years to put everything in gear because the Democrats would take over in the 2026 elections. And if everything goes on the up and up, that is what should happen. I am not convinced that they won't try some nonsense, and they've already tried with the gerrymandering and all this other stuff. At this point in time, if everything remains the way it is, it's not going to be enough. And they are panicking. They are panicking. We're going to play a clip of Mike Johnson panicking and saying as such. He's already, they know what is going to happen. But in 2028, it's a whole different story. If he remains alive, he is not going to want to leave office. They seek to maintain and keep the power at all costs. They're not going to want to give it up. So it's going to be another contested election. It's going to be a whole nother thing. So we need all the wins we can get and all the pushback we can get. And we need to create friction inside the government to slow down the tyranny that is taking hold of the United States. We will do the police state watch along in January, maybe the second week of January, if you want to be a part of it. Well, we can't let everybody be a part of it, but I don't know how many people are I'm going to be able to have on for that. But we're doing the watch along, and we're going to do it live. Maybe the second or third week of January. Let's see how it goes, But I'm going to invite some people, and maybe one or two of the listeners, if you want to be a part of it, let me know. And whomever hits me up first, that's who gets on. If you want to sit there and talk about it. But the alt media has been discussing this for quite some time, and now that it's here, they choose to turn their back on it and say, that's not what's happening. After they've sold it to you. They've sold it to you. Luke Radowski has sold this to you. Jason Burmis has sold this to you. For years, many of the guests on Union of the Unwanted have sold this shit to you. And now they're like, oh, no, that's not what we said. Now that it's come out, now that it's incredibly hard to deny the disaster that this has all been. And I can go on and on and on and on about your favorite podcasters. Clint Russell, a total disaster. A total and complete disaster. For years and years and years, selling you nonsense. We're here now. But Billy has Trump derangement syndrome. Severe. Severe TDS. And then Rob Reiner dies. God bless him. And Trump comes out and says, yeah, he had TDS, and it's probably why somebody killed him, because he made a lot of people uncomfortable, and he had TDS. Donald Trump is completely delusional. 100%. He is out of his marbles. Something is seriously wrong with the guy. All right, let's go back. Let's take a quick travel to the past. Quick trip to the past. We'll get on the DeLorean here, and let's hear Donald Trump talk about the Epstein files.
A Democrat hoax.
Oh yeah, hold on.
That never ends. A little of the Kennedy.
Hey, Trump. Hey, Donald. Hey, yo. Hey, what'd you say about the Epstein files, bro? Can you repeat that?
So this is a Democrat hoax.
Oh no, is it? Here's the headline: Trump takes questions at a meeting with the Polish president. This was in the Oval Office, and you saw all the sycophants that reside up his asshole. They came out for a little bit for air, and they sat around him in the Oval Office, which he has turned into a golden. I don't know what the hell he's done with the place, man. It makes it look like one of his buildings, tacky as fuck. But let's go back and let's hear him. Let's let the guy finish. Hey, tell the people again. This is a giant hoax, right? Right, Mr. Trump?
A Democrat hoax.
Oh,
that never ends.
Mm.
It reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax, because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now, D.C., it's a totally safe zone.
Look at the deflection. Deflecting, not answering the question. I mean, he's going off on everything else. Look at my accomplishments. This is what's being hidden. This is why the Democrats are holding on to the Epstein files, and they won't let it go. Stop talking about Epstein. You remember that? Are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein, is what he said? Are we still talking about that creep? Well, he was hanging out with that creep all the time. Tons of pictures, emails, all types of stuff. Even some stuff that we probably don't want to see. Disgusting. guy's disgusting. Look at this. Look at the pedophile in chief. Disgusting. Disgusting. At bare minimum, the protector of the pedophile in chief. Look at this guy protecting pedophiles. A lot of people are going to get hurt, he said. That's what he told Marjorie Taylor Greene, according to her. If we release these files, a lot of people are going to get hurt. You remember when they asked him point blank before the election? Like, oh, will you release the files? He's like, yeah, I'll release them, or maybe not so much, because there's a lot of nonsense in those files, so maybe not, but maybe, kept going back and forth about what he would actually do. Then he told Marjorie Taylor Greene, no, we're not releasing the files. Very nice.
Safe zone. That's a term. It's a term of art. It's a safe zone because it's very safe. You can walk down the street now and nothing's going to happen.
And then, fast forward a little bit, and some National Guard members got shot in DC. Unfortunately, and one of them passed away. I don't know what happened to the other one. God bless, man. I got to look that up. But God bless both of them. They shouldn't have even been there. But this buffoon decided that this was a good idea, right? And it caused this to happen, in my opinion. Because otherwise, where would they be? They wouldn't have been in Washington, D.C. So the safe zone that he created, right?
No murders, no nothing, because we had a lot of problems with certain places, and we still do. All run by Democrats, or for the most part, run by Democrats.
Look at Pete Hegseth over here, completely incompetent, has no idea what the fuck is going on. Dude is sitting there trying to process all of this. Like, what am I doing here? Why am I not up Donald Trump's ass as per usual? He's freaking pondering the meaning of life, living outside of Donald Trump's rectum. How can I survive outside of Donald Trump's ass? He's thinking to himself right now. These are the musings of one Pete Hegseth.
So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success, like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars.
At this point, it was 7 wars. Now it's 10 wars that he's ending. And the Democrats don't want to talk about that. They only want to talk about the Epstein hoax. These things don't exist. I don't even know Jeffrey Epstein. We weren't cool at all. I don't understand why people won't let this go. I don't get it. Epstein files don't exist. Meanwhile, Friday, boom, here are the Epstein files that did not exist. Man, by the way, you can't read them because, everything is blacked out for the most part. So it's pages upon pages upon pages of black. It's like a black hole, the Epstein files are.
Going to talk about, because they're going to talk about the Epstein, whatever. Sir, I understand that we were subpoenaed to give files, and I understand we've given thousands of pages of files. And I know that no matter what you do, it's going to keep going. And I think it's enough, because I think we should talk about the greatness of our country and the success that we're having.
Let's not talk about 14-year-old girls. Let's not talk about that. There's a lot of false stuff in there involving people. What people, Mr. Trump? Well, very important people. What very important people? Well, one person in particular. Well, who would that be? How about we talk about the 10 fictional wars that I've ended? How about we talk about that instead? Let's not talk about me and a 14-year-old girl. It's a hoax. And this is what the piece of filth does. This is what he does. He's always done this. It's just becoming more and more apparent now. And that's fine. As long as people snap out of it.
Probably having, according to what I read, even from 2 people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about.
Delusions, Mr. Wordsworth. Lies, Mr. Wordsworth. People struggling to put food on the table, and this dummy is out here patting his own back for shit that didn't even get done. The guy is completely delusional. And here's another picture of Pete Hegseth just pondering what he's doing and where he is. Well, how did I get here? I'm a warrior.
Not the Epstein hoax.
We thank you for watching, and remember.
Oh, there you go. The Epstein hoax. It's a hoax, damn it. It is a hoax. That's what it is, man. My gosh. I got some more for you. Hold on for a second. We're gonna get through this before our guest shows up. We got a lot, but I wanted to play that first. But let me play you Mike Johnson real quick. Let's go to Mike Johnson. He's scared. He's scared of what's gonna happen to his political future. He is frightened. He is scared, and you should be. You piece of filth. He should absolutely be scared about his political future. Here we go. Hold on. Where's the freaking mute button? There it is. All right. Hopefully we didn't miss anything good.
Is on the line in the midterms of 2026, and we have much more to do. But if we lose the House majority, the radical left, as you've already heard, is going to impeach President Trump. They're going to create absolute chaos. We cannot let that happen. And
Hell's yeah. Hell yeah. Donald Trump should be impeached and removed, effective immediately. Impeached and removed right now. Of course, it's not going to happen now, but it should happen. They're killing innocent people in the high seas in Venezuela, not proving in any way that they are what they say they are. And even if they are what they say they are, that's not grounds for killing them. It is murder. They're committing murder. Murder. Red rum is what they're doing. And that, coupled with what they are doing to the citizens of the United States of America, violation of posse comitatus, and covering up for pedophiles, making billions upon billions of dollars. What do you think? We should leave him in office? At least it's not Kamala Harris, right? At least it's not Kamala Harris. At least it's not the dirty Democrats. Dude said that some military members were going to get $1,776, the warrior dividend. I'm waiting for my $9,000 that I was promised by Donald Trump and Doge and Elon Musk. I'm waiting for that. And I know a lot of people are waiting for it too. We all deserve our money. The Warriors are supposed to get $1,776. That supposedly he got because of the tariffs. Turns out it's all complete nonsense, and these people were going to get this money anyway. It has nothing to do with tariffs. Trump just relabeled it and said it because they live by a principle. You say things enough and people will believe it. And it worked to a certain extent, right? Say things again and again and again, and people will believe it. And you know what? If they were good at anything, they were good at that. And I think Stephen Miller understands that, and Steve Bannon understands that. And to a degree, probably Donald Trump understands that, even though he doesn't understand much. Here's Scaramucci, who used to work with Donald Trump. Listen to what they had to say here. This is interesting. This is very, very key to the psychological operation that's being run on us right now. And of course, I forget about the stupid mute button. Hold on. Let me see. There it is. All right. Let's hope we didn't. We definitely missed something important. I'll go back.
You told me a long time ago when I asked why you keep saying fake media.
Yeah.
You said to me, I say that because I need to discredit you so that when you say negative things about me, no one will believe you.
If I chant the same thing over and over again, the sky is green, the sky is green, you know the sky is blue, but you know what? There's going to be 30% of the people that like me that are going to chant with me that the sky is green. He understands that, and he's breaking the norms. They call it in golf the Trump foot wedge, because his golf cart is 6 miles an hour faster than yours. He gets down the fairway before you do, and he kicks your ball into the woods, and he kicks his ball onto the fairway, called the Trump foot wedge. Okay, that's Donald Trump. And the problem that everybody has with him is that you grew up in a society with values, and you grew up in a society with moral norms, and you grew up with a society with levels of ethics and integrity. That is not Donald Trump. Donald Trump has learned long ago, I can bully my way through these rules, and if I continue to push harder and harder, people will relent to my bullying.
Fantastic. Let me play it one more time.
Told Leslie Stahl something that you guys should really listen to.
Do you know what you told me a long time ago when I asked why you keep saying fake media?
Yeah.
You said to me, I say that because I need to discredit you so that when you say negative things about me, no one will believe you.
If I chant.
And that's absolutely true. That's why he says what he says. It's all a lie. And they don't care if they're lying to you. The thing is, it's becoming more evident every day that he's lying to you. Before, while it was evident to some, to a lot of people, it wasn't that evident. They wanted to believe what was coming out of Donald Trump's mouth, and therefore they did. For what Scaramucci said, they were like, they either like him or they want to believe him. So the sky is green. The sky is green. We're going along with it. The sky is green, damn it. This is what he does. This is what Donald Trump does. And that's why he's saying these things are a hoax. He thinks you're stupid enough to believe this. That's why he's saying what he's saying. It's just now, the lie is too big to cover up. They always talk about like too big to steal. The lie is too big to cover up at this point. There's too much. And I think the dam has broken, and that's a beautiful thing. And I got to thank Thomas Massey for that. I got to thank Marjorie Taylor Greene for that. Let me see how much time I have. I still got some time. I'm going to go on a break for a little bit, for like an hour, so I could send my link for like an hour, for like a minute or two, so I can send a link to my my guest, and then we'll come back. But we'll continue down this road. I don't know if I want to look at some of these pictures that have been released. Let me see. Let's maybe I'll show you that. Hold on. This is a little bit more pressing. I'll show you this. Hold on. Let me make sure it's the right one. Of the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, and what he had to say. I think this was this morning about the Epstein files and why they took down some pictures of Donald Trump and certain documents that involved Donald Trump. They took them down. They published them with the initial dump, and then took them down. You know, so people had questions about that, and his answer was very revealing. Let's take a look. And of course, I still don't hit the mute. I don't learn. There's the mute button. Okay.
He disappeared from DOJ's website yesterday, including this photo of what looks like a desk with a drawer open containing photos of Donald Trump. Just to be very clear, to put a fine point on it, why were these files taken down? You're saying it was at the direction of a judge?
Well, you can see in that photo, there's photographs of women. And so we learned after releasing that photograph that there were concerns about those women and the fact that we had put that photo up. So we pulled that photo down. It has nothing to do with President Trump. There are dozens of photos of President Trump already released to the public, seeing him with Mr. Epstein. He has said that in the 90s and early 2000s, he socialized with him. So the absurdity of us pulling down a photo, a single photo, because President Trump was in it, is laughable. And the fact that everybody's trying to act like that's the case is a reflection of their true motivation. But the reality is anybody, any victim, any victim's lawyers, any victim rights group can reach out to us and say, hey, Department of Justice, there's a document, there's a photo, there's something within the Epstein files that identifies me. And we will then, of course, pull that off and investigate it.
Are you saying that one or more of the women in one of the photos or several of the photos is a victim or a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein, and that's why you took those files down? And will they be put back up?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
So what was he saying? We're going to go back and we'll play the whole thing. We'll play his entire response. But he said there were concerns about the girls in the photos with Donald Trump. So what are the concerns? We had to take him down because there were concerns about he screwed up here saying that dumb shit, right? Because it's reasonable to assume that these are victims that he is in a photo with. And they had to take them down because there were concerns about the girls in the picture with Donald Trump. So he was like, take them down. This is the same guy that went to cut a deal allegedly with Ghislaine Maxwell. Why she, after they spoke, this dude and Maxwell, she got promoted to a different jail cell where she gets puppies to pet from time to time and shit like that. So Todd Blanche, in my opinion, isn't very trustworthy. He's not a very trustworthy guy, you know. But he's the guy, you know. He's the guy to trust when he says no, it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Although the picture is of Donald Trump with girls that there are concerns about. Very interesting response from Todd Blanche.
Of course, if we knew that, if we believed that photograph contained a survivor, we wouldn't have put it up in the first place without redacting the faces. But notwithstanding what we believe, we don't have perfect information. And so when we hear from victims' rights groups about this type of photograph, we pull it down and investigate. We're still investigating that photo. The photo will go back up, and the only question is whether there will be redactions on the photo. And of course, if there are survivors in any of the photos, we will redact them as.
And I mean, the damage has already been done. If that's the case, right? They're out there. The faces are out there. What are you going to redact?
Congress expects us to do, as President Trump expects us to do, and as the Attorney General and Director Patel directed the department to do.
Okay. You were
incredible, bro. I don't know how this guy can get in front of a camera and talk this bullshit. No idea how these people sleep at night. I could not do this job. It's not something I can do. Maybe he's a true believer and it's easy for him because he actually believes the nonsense, but I have a hard time believing that because he's seen the evidence. Maybe he's willfully ignorant. I don't know. I'm trying to give these people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's just willfully ignorant and has decided that he's not going to admit to himself that he's working for a potential protector of predators. Right? Maybe that's the deal. I don't know. But he literally said that they needed to take down that photo because of concerns with the women in the photo. Incredible stuff. What's going down with MAGA and the Trump White House, the most ineffective, incompetent, corrupt administration in the history of the United States. The absolute worst president in the history. This is not up for debate in the history of the United States of America. And he has 3 more years, assuming his health doesn't fail him, which a lot of people out there are saying that it's already failing. and his his cognitive decline is evident and on display for all to see. Those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. It doesn't even really take that, okay? It's whether or not you want to admit it to yourself. What's gone on? Several Christmas presents served under the tree for those of us that still value true liberty, that still value actual evidence. You know, here you go. Evidence of corruption, evidence of a cover-up, evidence of a real conspiracy, a true conspiracy. So we should all be attacking this from all angles. So thank you for everybody that is. We can't let this go. We can't let it go. They released these, whatever they released. They say they're going to continue to release stuff. Everything is heavily redacted. So we have to keep pushing for actual true transparency, which is what they promised. This is what they promised. They created this. Kash Patel, Donald Trump, they created this. Dan Bongino, Stephen Miller, they all created this. Alex Jones has a lot to do with this. And that's why they're in the position that they are in today, because they willfully backed a piece of shit that made it to the White House and continue to back them because they either know where their bread is buttered or they're too proud to say, damn, I messed up. Dan Bongino got the hell out of there. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go back and do whatever it is I was doing before this. This is too much. Bye-bye, guys. Bye-bye. I'm leaving. I can't handle this. Let me say what's up to the chat real quick, and then I shall return. Kenny Powers is in the chat. What's going on? What's up? What does he say? What's up, Kenny? The Epstein files redacted are like non-blackers. I don't know what that means, Kenny. I mean, I know what it means, kind of, but I don't know if I'm doing your comment justice. C-Matt is in the chat. What's going on, C-Matt? How are you? Twisted, what's going on? I'm gonna send you a link right now. The Trump body count. Man, everybody wants to talk about the Clinton body count. Nobody wants to talk about the Trump body count, if there is one. And what kind of body count are we talking about at this point? Right? This piece of filth, man. Thomas Clay, how are you? Good to see you, sir. Massey has stood on business, says C-Matt 420. What is going on? Smoke him if you got him. What's going on? He has absolutely stood on business, man. What can I say? I can't hate on the guy. Even if I don't agree, we don't align on certain things, on a lot of things. You know, if Donald Trump turned around and stood on business, I would say the same thing about him. It's not Trump derangement syndrome. It's pointing out obvious corruption. It's pointing out obvious criminal activity. It's pointing out obvious lies. And they deflect with terms like conspiracy theorist, with terms like Trump derangement syndrome. They deflect with those terms because they don't want you to ever realize that they're not wearing any clothes. Dustin Helm is in the chat. What is going on? Yeah, Jake Paul got his ass whooped. Something vicious. Something crazy. And you know what? I rather enjoyed it. I'll watch it again on my birthday. Sit down, press play, and turn on the fifth round, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth round, and just watch those while I'm eating cake. I'm like, yeah, this was good. This was a good thing. He needed to get his ass whooped. What a disgusting piece of filth. Ashley's in the chat. What is up, Ash? How are you? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. Repeat offenders. I know the deal. Okay. So I'm going to play you a little bit of music. I'm going to send a link and I'll be right back. Give me about 2 minutes. And I will be right back. Let me play something dope. I'm going to play some Japanese hip hop. How about that? I could play some MF Doom, but I don't want to get blocked. Hold on. I'm going to play this.
Yeah. Prime audio, the first sight, the first sound, prime audio.
This is
always free on the daily
This is an MC called Shingo 2 from California and Japan. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, Prime Audio, the first sight, the first sound, Prime Audio, always free on the daily like cardio. It was different back then in the studio. Can't knock the hustle, check my portfolio. Check my portfolio. Can't knock the hustle, check my portfolio. Yo, yo, the world I was brought into and the trials that I've been through. Wrote a few cycles, kept it simple. Wrote a couple letters, laid on paper. Alphabet soup, the raps come later. Nevertheless, the first time I held a full color print on the cover of the magazine, the lettering seemed alien, neon green, and the smell exquisite. French vanilla bean, though I didn't quite understand. Damn, the subtle level of involvement of the human hand. Took for granted what was made in a factory. But wait a minute, it's all coming back to me. My first dope kicks was an A6. I would put it on the table on the box in the basement. Sketch the outline and lace it. Wear matching socks to school, back to basics. Prime Audio, the first sight, the first sound. Prime Audio, always free on the daily like cardio. It was different back then in the studio. Can't knock the hustle, check my portfolio. Check my portfolio, yo. Now I'm talking to the artists, vibe to this. On the subway or the bus ride it hits. Your days around the corner, no stress about all the obstacles, cause they only make you stronger. Obsessed like a maniac once possessed. In the shed sharpening tools, years to invest in the craft till you start to see the patterns emerge. God-given gift for you to use it, just splurge. Idol worship is the thing of the past. No matter how hard the media push it on blast fast on the feed and listen to the beat with your eyes closed, reminiscent days so sweet like an elementary crush, primary flame. The ones who do it for the love, not a face. Forget the brand name, it's the same old same. And it doing it on my name, tell fame. Prime Audio, the first sight, the first sound. Prime Audio, always free on the daily like cardio. It was different back then in the studio. You can't knock the hustle, check my portfolio. Check my portfolio. Can't knock the hustle, check my portfolio. You know how we do it. Keep it honest. Keep it 1000. Keep it infinite. Lex. Shingo 2. Nothingness. Yeah, yeah, Prime Audio, the first sight, the first sound. Prime Audio, always free on the daily like cardio. It was different back then in the studio. Can't knock the hustle, check my portfolio. Check my portfolio. Can't knock the hustle, check my portfolio. Yo, yo, the world I was brought into and the trials that I've been through. Wrote a few cycles, kept it simple. Wrote a couple letters, laid on paper. Alphabet soup, the raps come later. Nevertheless, the first time I held a full color print on the cover of the magazine, the lettering seemed alien, neon green, and the smell exquisite. French vanilla bean, though I didn't quite understand. Damn, the subtle level of involvement of the human hand. Took for granted what was made in a factory. But wait a minute, it's all coming back to me. My first dope kicks was an A6. I would put it on the table on the box in the basement. Sketch the outline and lace it. Wear matching socks to school, back to basics. Prime Audio, the first sight, the first sound. Prime Audio, always free on the daily like cardio. It was different back then in the studio. Can't knock the hustle, check my portfolio. Check my portfolio, yo. Now I'm talking to the artists, vibe to this. On the subway or the bus, riding the hits. Your days around the corner, no stress about all the obstacles, cause they only make you stronger. Obsessed like a maniac once possessed. In the shed sharpening tools, years to invest in the craft till you start to see the patterns emerge. God-given gift for you to use it, just splurge. Idol worship is a thing of the past, no matter how hard the media. Push it on blast fast on the feed and listen to the beat with your eyes closed, reminiscent days so sweet like an elementary crush. Primary team, the ones who do it for the love, not a face. Forget the brand name, it's the same old same. And it's doing it on my name, tell fame. Prime audio, the first sight, the first sound. Prime audio, always free on the daily like cardio. It was different back then in the studio. You can't knock the hustle, check my portfolio. Check my portfolio.
All right. We are back. That was Shingo too. I've been digging. I'm digging for something dope. I listen to a lot of MF Doom nowadays. I listen to West Side Gun as far as hip hop goes. You know, and I fell through a rabbit hole years ago listening to Jay Dilla on YouTube, and I bumped into a producer, Japanese producer called Nujabes, and I fell in love, right? And then it just led me down a hole of Japanese hip hop. I like really smooth hip hop, jazzy hip hop, lo-fi, and that's how I was introduced to Shingo too. That's one of his newest songs. I love the stuff he's done with Nujabes or whatever, but this was this year. Nujabes passed away in 2005 in a car accident in Japan. So got my guy Twisted with me here today, man. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Just chilling, man. I had a open up. I didn't know I didn't have a chat for X, so I had to make a code real quick as you were on commercial break.
Oh, I'm sorry, buddy.
No, it's my fault. I wasn't prepared.
Oh, well, I should have emailed it to you, but I wasn't prepared at all either. I completely forgot about sending you a link, and then I went live, and then I figured it out. I was like, "Oh, we'll do it live." You know, we'll do it live. So, no, man, I'm glad to have you, buddy. I want to show you something, and we will talk about this because I think it's important to discuss what's gone down here. Like, Twisted's been around the alt media for quite some time. You know, he listens to or has listened to a lot of shows, and he's a really smart individual. Gotten to know him fairly well, and I don't know why, but he used to listen to me. I have no idea why he did that, but he did. But he's had a bit of a change in his way of thinking, and I think it's happening to a lot of people. Well, maybe not a lot of people, but it's happening to some people in my circle that I know. So I figured I'd this was actually Twisted's idea, and it was a great idea. And I was like, you know what, let's do it. And he's been instrumental in giving me clips and giving me ideas for Gorilla Underground and everything. So man, I got a lot of love for Twisted. And he is a true rebel. I'm going to say this because there's a lot of people in all media that talk a lot of shit. And I'm going to do this and I'm going to do. And if I were in such situations, I would do X, Y, and Z. And then you get into that situation and you get your jaw broken like Jake Paul did on Saturday, but Twisted has actually done stuff. There's like drastic stuff that most people wouldn't be able to do. Not going to get into it unless he wants to, but he's actually done these things. So respect for that. But I want to show you something. I want to show you something that I think it's very important. And I had forgotten about it up until a minute ago when I went on X and to send you the invite. And I was like, oh, look at this. I forgot about this. So where's my guy, Thomas Massey? Hold on. Let me see. Boom. Here it is. Let's look at that. Now, Thomas Massey tweeted this out. people, I've been screaming about this for forever in the alt media, but people don't want to believe me. Billy has Trump derangement syndrome, so clearly he can't see what it is that we see. Right? Well, here's Thomas Massey saying that a lot of you subscribe to Thomas Massey, maybe not so much anymore because he's, taking apart the God King. But here's Thomas Massey. If the 2020 elections involved widespread coordinated fraud and conspiracy, why hasn't this administration arrested or indicted anyone yet? And you know what? They may try to indict someone just like they did Letitia James and Comey, but you saw where that went. Nothing. They had absolutely nothing on any of those people. It was an embarrassment. But here's Thomas Massey pointing out the freaking obvious. If the 2020 election was what they said it was, robbery, highway robbery, a rigged election on behalf of the Democrats because they couldn't beat Donald Trump. No, they couldn't. It's just impossible to defeat the guy. Why has this administration not arrested or indicted anyone in regards to this? Why did Elon Musk and Donald Trump with Doge, how come they haven't arrested anyone for all the alleged fraud that they claim that they found? Because fraud is a crime. So how come no one has been arrested? But still, people believe that they found all this fraud, or if they haven't found the fraud, they just aren't looking hard enough. These people are making up shit at this point to get people arrested and indicted with Letitia James and Comey. Straight up making up shit. If they had some hard evidence, they would have used it. There's still time for them to actually try. But of course, it will lead nowhere because they don't have any evidence of anything because they've made up the majority of this shit. But people still want to believe it. And they attack those of us that try to point out that something is wrong in Denmark. There's something wrong here. This isn't what they're telling you. And we are buying a pack of goods. They are leading us down a road. Clearly, they're lying about this. And Thomas Massey has the freaking balls to come out and say, yeah, man, that big orange sack of shit is lying to you about this. He didn't say it in those words, of course. He's a statesman, So, I read what he said. But he has the balls to say the unthinkable amongst MAGA and the right. Because I don't know if you remember, Twisted, but they asked all of these people during the confirmation, Pam Bondi, RFK Jr., Kash Patel. Yeah, all of these people they asked, do you think that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election? And they would say anything that they had to say to worm their way out of that one. Right? But they would never give a straight answer. And the conspiracy world has been holding on to that shit for quite some time. But amongst other things that they cannot prove, that they have zero evidence of, but they refuse to say that they were wrong. Or maybe they still believe that they're right without any cause, without any reinforcement to believe that they're right. I don't know. Maybe a combination of the two. We are in an age where it's going to get harder and harder to be able to tell the difference between fact or fiction with AI. And if they can get us just based on words and belief, what the hell are they going to be able to do once, all of this AI technology becomes maximized? Regardless of that, you've had a long road in this. You've been in this for quite some time, sir. How are you feeling about the state of the alt media right now?
I mean, look at my gray hair.
Look at that. It's wisdom, they say.
Hey, you mentioned who's been arrested. I would tell Massey they were all pardoned. Didn't Trump just pardon everybody? that was
Very good
involved with
point.
that. That's why they're not arrested.
This is what I mean. And I would have totally missed that point if you didn't bring it up. And then we would have been talking off air, and you would have said that, and I'd have been like, damn, why didn't I bring that up? Yes, he pardoned all of these freaking people.
Like,
right.
so
Go ahead.
even Massey, you know, I like him. I like what he says. But hey, dog, I know this. You don't know this. You should mention why that they're all party. You should question why are they all partying. So sometimes with Massey, he's a politician. And I like what he does, and none of them are perfect, but they're all politicians. So even a guy like him, you know, you kind of, you know, like, thank you for what you say and do. But
I'm loving it right now. Right.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But sometimes the way these conspiracies work, they go into where they have your saviors are a part of the whole thing. You know, like Trump does not exist without conspiracy theory. He is a product of conspiracy theory.
100.
He went to InfoWars because he knew he needed to go there. And because he went there, a lot of people were like, I don't know, but I've been listening to Alex Jones for 20 years. Maybe this is our guy. And it took until lockdowns or, you know, people like yourself, you were onto it. Others, really smart people who are woke up later. But definitely with lockdowns and even if you gave them the benefit of the doubt, I would say on January 7th of 2020, Trump gave a speech right after the insurrection or whatever you want to call it, and he called them thieves and crooks, or they don't represent the MAGA movement. They're traitors to this nation.
Right.
And right then and there, I was like, oh, dude, this was a smooth play by the establishment or whoever.
Yeah.
Because he made all this money off Stop the Steal. He gets everybody there, and then he threw them right under the bus. But to this day, people that were even arrested, they still support him. They're ready to die for him. I wouldn't give up my freedom for nobody like that. So it's like pretty crazy that he's a product of conspiracy. If it wasn't for conspiracy theory, I don't even Trump would have won. You know, he put them over the line a little bit. And they hijacked Christians, good-hearted Christians, and they took their mistrust of government and they threw this dude in there. It was Roger Stone where I first heard about the Epstein files, and now that looking back, I go, man, they did exactly what Saul Alinsky, what they claim that Democrats and Saul Alinsky does is exactly what Roger Stone and Trump did. They accused their political enemies of exactly what they were doing. Right. Roger Stone was doing Diddy stuff before the internet existed. You know what I mean? Like, but a lot of people look past this. 9/11 truthers. I mean, Rudy Giuliani was Trump's guy. It's like, you know, Alan Dershowitz. If Trump's using Alan Dershowitz right now for something legally, I forget what it is, to try to get the third term, he's using Alan Dershowitz, Epstein's attorney. You know,
very good point. Very good point. This is what I mean, man. All good points. Alan Dershowitz wrote a book about the potential of a third term for Donald Trump, right? And
Epstein's lawyer,
right,
and client, maybe.
They're all involved. They're all involved with this.
Cernovich,
and you made an excellent point about, and I'm going to turn it right back over to you. You made an excellent point about how they use like Saul Alinsky, right? They use that and say this is what they're doing, but they're the ones that are actually doing it, implementing that, right? This is a narcissistic president. But because of his narcissism, the whole administration or everything they project, it is projection. They are projecting on the rest of the public. They are a malignant narcissist administration, right? So if they are accusing, they've probably engaged in it. They've probably done it. You know, and they've done it better than the people that they're accusing of it. You know, and that's not to say that the other side are saints, because they're not, you know, and we don't give a damn about them and we don't subscribe to them, right? What I am saying is that these people are currently in power, and they are feeding us lies after lies after lies. And when you say something like This is the conspiracy theory presidency. You're 100% right. In 2016, he got in because of conspiracy theorists and Christians, Christian nationalism. That's what propelled him into the White House. You know, and in 2017, QAnon and all that other stuff took over, and they used old conspiracy theories to rope in a new generation of conspiracy theories. After COVID, Cambridge Analytica, all of this stuff. This was the scheme. After 2020, I didn't think Trump had a chance at making it back. I didn't think it would be a thing. But again, they capitalized on lies upon lies. And I played a clip of Anthony Scaramucci, telling people exactly what goes down with Donald Trump. He says things enough, you're going to believe it. And somehow, here he is. But now people are seeing it. At least some people are seeing it, which I'm happy about. But he is the conspiracy theory president, and they used conspiracy theory and conspiracy theorist to get him where he is today. Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, the FBI director is a conspiracy theorist. Like literally had like a podcast,
Right?
Or he was always on them.
He was on him. Right.
And here's another thing too. What I think is that Trump's failures, when he crumbles and falls, it's going to lead. It's kind of crazy. I don't know for sure, but it's going to lead to an even crazier scenario of the Nick Fuentes world, where a guy could drop N-bombs and say the most, like as if he grew up in those neighborhoods, and then say the most racist stuff, make it actually hilarious sometimes.
Yeah.
He's engaging.
He's charismatic.
And it's Trump's failures that is going to propel that mindset to the right. And then on the left, you're going to have, I don't even know what's coming from there. I mean, even according to the John Bircher Society, Trump himself is a leftist. So that even goes to a whole other world. But what I'm saying is, it's like they have everything, all their bases are covered. These guys sit around in think tanks and they think about 10 years, 15 years, 5 years, this reaction, this scenario, and they brainstorm and they do that, and they create these brands, these political monsters. They're trying to do it with Charlie Kirk's wife. That is the most bizarre thing. And then what they do is something happens. They let info out there on purpose, it seems, to get the conspiracy theorists' brains running around all over the internet doing deep dives with Candace Owens and all that. Meanwhile, we're on the verge of invading Venezuela. That's coming out of, you know what I mean? So it's like we get caught up going into these conspiracies. We're not going to fix nothing by knowing all the conspiracies. It's just good to know that, okay, a little bit here and there. And God bless all the researchers, because, you do need people to look into these weird rabbit holes and stuff. Right. But what happens is everybody over time, what I'm seeing is a conspiracy theorist. Now, when I was looking into conspiracy, it was like we were the rebels, and right. And now the conspiracy, my kids are conspiracy theorists. Like, and I'm not saying like they're crazy. They just know that 9/11, was probably inside job, or it's not what they say. They just naturally know this.
Yeah.
When we were young, to question JFK was like, whoa, dude, you're a rebel. To question MLK or Malcolm, you a rebel. And now what they're doing, what I'm starting to see, is the conspiracy theorists are doing this. They're tearing down, like cultural Marxists do, that they're accused of. It's like the woke right is doing this. They're tearing down heroes of the downtrodden. They tear down, me and you talk about it, Tupac.
Right.
They tearing down Malcolm. They tearing down MLK. They doing this, ripping down heroes of the people in the gutter. You know what I mean? Right. So now you don't even have anybody to look up to anymore. You don't have nobody when you're in the hood and you poor. You ain't got no dad. Tupac's telling you can still keep going in life. There's hope. Now they're telling you, oh, that guy was a sodomite. It's like so now you're like, was I gay? I love this guy. You know what I mean? So it's like this conspiracy stuff is like, it's becoming so normal that you don't even realize everybody's kind of a conspiracy theorist now.
Right.
Nobody trusts anything. You know, so
And I think that was part of the plan, brother. You know, I got to a point where I was like, I got to do something. Let me start a podcast and talk about it, because things are crazy. And it wasn't 100% wrong about that, but the turn that it took, I wasn't ready for it. Not only was I not ready for it, I didn't want to subscribe to it because I thought it was nonsense, you know. And when I used to do 9/11 activism, and I did it up until this year. This year was the first time I didn't go down to Ground Zero on the day of. I didn't go down there. I got a new job and I couldn't, you know, but I didn't. But since 2005, I would go every year on the day of, you know, at least. And while I was like handing out pamphlets and trying to talk to people, I started out saying 9/11 is an inside job, you know, and I slowly realized that I could not prove that. You know, by 2008, I was saying, hey, investigate 9/11. I'm like, I can prove that there are some anomalies, but can I prove that 9/11 was an inside job? I know, can't. You know, and that was the beginning. You know, I was like, you know, I'm going to take this approach, and that approach actually led to more people coming to me to talk about it. You know, they wanted to. Everybody would stop by. Tourists, Europeans were up on it. Europeans wanted to talk about 9/11 truth. You know, they didn't, and they knew everything. You know, down at Ground Zero, all the Europeans would always come talk to me. But when I started taking a different approach and saying, hey, we need to investigate 9/11, more people were willing to discuss it with me than before, when I was like 9/11 is an inside job. You know, I can't, like, what's up, buddy? What were we going to say?
You're talking about 9/11. We talk about Lou Kradowski and Jason Burmis.
Yeah, man.
Loose Change. It's funny because the conspiracies have gone so crazy that the original conspiracy theorists of these theories, they're now not conspiracy enough. You know, and I don't like those guys. I know, you know, what they're all about and stuff, but I'm just saying it's gotten, you know, we went from question 9/11, it was an inside job, maybe CIA, you know, Saudi intelligence, to there was no planes, to where the building's even really there, nobody really died. It's right. Like, now we look ridiculous. And how can you get people's hearts and minds to change when you're saying, hey, we need a question at 9/11? They're gonna be like, this guy thinks the earth is flat. Right. So it's like some of these there are conspiracies, but they throw all this silly stuff out there to make you look silly. Right. You know, like the Charlie Kirk. I'm to the point where I don't even know what's going on anymore. I'm like, man, all I know is my hair just keeps getting gray. So that's not a conspiracy.
I've largely left that alone. Like, I'm like, what are we talking about here? You know, we're like, what are we doing? You know, and what are we going to be able to prove with Charlie Kirk?
And
you know, so I'm like, you know what? What's up?
What happens when you prove it? What happens? Well, okay, I proved it all. What? Yeah. It's like, you know, still got to pay those gas prices. And,
you know, and the thing is, you know, fuck, man, like for people that claim to have an open mind, because that's what the truther community is. Oh, we have an open mind. They don't. The normies, they don't have an open mind at all. You know, when one of your own decides, hey, listen, maybe we should be looking at it differently, they shut you off. Bang. They don't want to look at nothing different. They don't want to. I mean, it's some of the most closed-minded people are in the conspiracy movement. You know, the quote unquote truth movement. They don't want to let go of their idols. They don't want to research their beliefs. And even when they do come across actual real research, they shut it down and say, no, I don't want to, I don't accept that. I don't believe that. You know, so what do we actually believe? And that's the problem here. You know, like, you want to believe what you want to believe, and you will seek information that supports what you want to believe. You don't seek information that's going to support the actual truth. So that's why I think that the truth movement is complete and total nonsense. You know, there's a lot of good people that are wrapped up in this, you know, and there's bubble after bubble after bubble. I don't know what the truth is, but I do know that I don't want to lend my time and my energy and my voice to stuff that can't be proven and that can be easily disproven if you really want to look, if you really want to admit it to yourself, you know, and that's a tough step to take. And you've taken those steps. And while you still subscribe to some things, I still subscribe to some things, you know, like, I mean, like it's a process. It really is. That's why when people are like, oh, but Marjorie Taylor Greene still believes X, Y, and Z. Of course, like you're not going to abandon everything overnight. You're just not. It's a process, and everybody has a different journey out of the rabbit hole. Those of us that are lucky enough to make it out of this rabbit hole, because people just stay in it and dig themselves deeper and deeper and deeper inside, believing things that they can never prove in their lifetime. They just can't do it, but they sacrifice their families, you know, their time. I remember I spoke to a gentleman on my podcast. I forget the guy's name, but he didn't speak to his
daughters,
right?
And you told him, you said, hey, be careful.
Yeah.
Because you've been there. And that's the thing. This is what I don't understand. Everybody is like, Billy's a normie now. He's a normie. He's a Democrat, this and that. It's like, you have to question a guy who worked with David Icke, who knew Lou Kradowski, a dude that the Infinite Fringe, the classics that are on there. Why would this dude who was 10 toes down at ground zero, pushing the revolution, why would he suddenly be like questioning the conspiracies? So people are disrespectful to your history of being down the rabbit hole, because you've been down the rabbit hole. And anybody listening, just because he's out of the rabbit hole don't mean he can't get back into that rabbit hole and be like Rambo and figure it all out. Doesn't mean that he doesn't understand that a conspiracy can happen. He could see the patterns and let it, you know, work its way out in his mind and prove this and that. But they're making it sound like this guy's a normie, disregard him, this and that. But you're actually questioning these things because you've seen in your life, as well as me, I disown people for conspiracy. I done put people's souls out of my life for the conspiracy, you know? And I'm sure you've dealt with that too. And so you've taken your bullets for this, and for people to suddenly question you, I would say, what got you to first go, hold up, what is there like a moment in your life where you were suddenly like kind of like, this, you know, is this correct? Or what was that for you, Billy?
I don't know, man. It was a slow evolution, man. Like I said, like we were doing 9/11 activism, and I decided that I couldn't prove it. And I can't even point to a time where I can point to a time where I fell down the rabbit hole. I know exactly when I did that. But as far as saying that, you know, like shifting my mindset on some of this stuff, I know that I started saying investigate 9/11, and I did that for the remainder of the time when I moved. But I think that was part of the progression. I can't point to one thing, you know. Of course, it went into hyperdrive in 2017, 2018, and then after 2020, you know, when I saw the obvious, like COVID did a lot to show the true face of people. We got to see the reality of who people are during COVID. And I was naive with a lot of people, and I didn't want to believe a lot of things, you know, I wanted to believe some things also, you know, about people. But when COVID came around, there was no denying it, you know, and that's why I used the Walking Dead scenario. Do I want somebody in my life that's not going to hold me down during a zombie apocalypse? If you're going to throw me under the bus or throw me to a bunch of zombies figuratively right now, you know, because you want some extra clicks, you know, and it was dangerous at that time. These people didn't know what COVID was, or if it was real or if it wasn't. They had no fucking clue. you know, and because all of a sudden everybody became a virologist, you know, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait a minute, like, and I'm reaching out to people that I considered my friends, and I'm telling them my experience, and they didn't want to hear my experience. It's like, what? Like, why wouldn't, wait a minute, like, but we're cool. We've done several shows together, you know, we text back and forth or whatever, right? Like, why don't you want to hear what I have to say about this? You know, so that was a part of it. I was like, oh, okay. You know, and then I saw people profiting off of it, you know, and then some people fully fell down a rabbit hole and were true believers of certain things. They weren't trying to mislead, although they were, but they were true believers. But that led me to believe, I'm like, if they believe the stuff that they believe about COVID, and if they believe the stuff that they believe about Donald Trump, and if they believe the stuff that they believe about QAnon, about Pizzagate, about Wayfair, all of these things, then what the hell else do they believe that we can just take apart easily? You know, and that's what I was like, oh, I really need to reevaluate some things. And that sucks. Twisted, it sucked because I spent so much time building something, you know, and when more downloads came and I got, and it was still modest in the great scheme of things, but for me, I saw my first episode had 15 downloads, man. You know, to eventually eclipse 1 million downloads, close to 2 million downloads, like that was a big deal for me. You know, like when an episode hit 15,000, 20,000 downloads, I'm like, my gosh, you know, like, wow, you know, and I would get mail from people all over the world. I mean, oh, Billy, this was great. This was great. Once I shifted, the email shifted too. Billy, you're so stupid. Billy, X, Y, and Z, you know? But it's
you can just tell. You can't tell, Billy?
Yeah, you can't tell? What is wrong with you? Like, hey, man.
I don't need proof. I can just tell.
that was told to me live on air about a month ago. I don't need proof. You know, but that sucked for me to have to say, damn, all of this stuff that I was doing, 95% of that was probably bullshit. I know I was being genuine, right? I was trying to communicate what I thought was the truth, or at least was closer to the truth, to people. But a lot of the people that I had on were either batshit crazy, they were opportunists, or true believers. One of the three, you pick. Some of them were all three, you know? It's and I saw that firsthand. And to me, it's even worse because I had to become involved and get into the rabbit hole with these people and be on the other side of things for me to finally realize what was going on. Otherwise, I'd still be in the rabbit hole probably. You know, so I can't pinpoint a specific time because it was a progression, and it's still a progression. I'm still trying to work out shit in my mind about what's gone on and how we got to this point. And and anybody else that's still here with me, they know that I've abandoned my podcast. It's the most successful thing I've done outside of my family, you know? Well, that's not true anymore. I've done a lot of things that are more successful than that. That podcast meant a lot to me though, you know? And I couldn't find myself to do it anymore. You know, I'm like, and I still can't. I still pay for it. I'm probably going to turn it into Gorilla Underground. You know, but I love the Infinite Fringe, but a lot of it, I took down so many episodes, you know, for copyright reasons initially, but you know, there was a lot of misinformation in there, not disinformation. It wasn't purposeful, at least not on my end. You know, it was misinformation that was going out, and there was an evolution while I was on the pod where I was actively questioning these things and debunking some of these things and telling my guest, like, hey, listen, you might want to look at it this way, trying to be as respectful as possible during that time. But no, I can't pinpoint a time. I can't. Can you pinpoint when you started changing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's kind of funny. Maybe that's why I'm so defensive about the whole Tupac attack. Because that dude, just by being a fan of his, and like a hyper fan growing up, he was like a big brother to me. That's how it is for a lot of young men growing up in the hood, right? You looking up to somebody. Anyways, when he first was murdered, I was a conspiracy theorist on his murder. I was listening to the Machiavelli album, like, see, he's still alive.
Right.
And Death Row was releasing albums with a guy named The Realist who sounded just like Tupac, and I was like, dude, that's got to be him. You could tell the way he's breathing that he's missing a lung, and then okay, then we get to he did die. Then it was Suge Knight, it was the FBI, and then Vlad TV did. That guy deserves a Pulitzer Prize for his work on the Tupac subject. He interviewed police, detectives, friends, the outlaws, record executives, all these people, all the enemies. Then he interviewed the uncle of the killer who was in the car, who's now being tried for the murder of Tupac. But what happened? It all boiled down to what initially was the word in the street was when Tupac got killed, he socked some known killer, a Crip in the streets of Compton. He socked him in the jaw. The dude retaliated and killed him. That was the streets, because I was in Southern Cali at that time. So years later, it turns out that's what happened. You know what I mean? And then it was so simple once I saw the detectives and police and everybody talking about it. And then the killer himself, he wasn't the one who pulled the trigger, but he was in the car. That was his nephew. And the way he broke it down, it was just like, this whole time I wasted all this time and energy looking into who killed him. Was it the FBI? There's other guys like in the conspiracy world that say John Potash is one of them. He always says that Tupac was killed by Suge Knight because he was leaving death. It wasn't nothing like that. It was some simple street stuff that happens every day in America. It's just that he was this prolific rapper that, especially after his death, he even skyrocketed higher. And what happened was he became like a godlike figure and like an iconic person of his time. And he just died. And actually, when you know the truth as to why he died, it actually serves to teach young kids this could happen. So watch out how you act when you're in the world. You go around and you hit the wrong dude, he don't care who you are. He'll kill you in front of all your homeboys in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? In front of everybody. So it actually serves as a lesson to kids what actually did happen to Tupac. Now fast forward to that. So I'm listening to conspiracy. Then I start hearing this like Tupac's gay stuff. And I was like, I seen those videos I seen those videos like at least 10 years ago. And when I first saw him, I go, man, he a little, he a little feminine in that one video. But does that make him gay? And so when I started kind of defending Tupac because of this mass obsessive amount of information I got on the guy, I was like, bro, I don't even care if he was gay. But if he was gay, I would be the first to admit it. I looked into it before. I looked like there's no whisper about it. But everybody in conspiracy, just like that, overnight, he's gay. And it's still going on. So what happened was I was just like, hold up. So if you look at that subject that you've never even listened to a Tupac song and yet you calling him gay, that means everything you said in any other conspiracy, that's the way you come at it. It is. Oh, 9/11 was this. Oh, the earth is this. The moon is this. And so now I'm like, bro, you're not credible because you're telling, like, I know this subject in an obsessive way. It's like, I mean, Tupac was actually outing the people who have been outed since, like Diddy and all them. Back in the first time I ever heard the word Illuminati, I know Mobb Deep talked about it a lot, but it was actually from Machiavelli. I was like, what's Illuminati? What's that? And I started looking into it, and and Tupac in his lyrics, and especially his last album, Machiavelli, he talks about a lot of these people, Jay-Z, all these people. So it's like he was actually a conspiracy theorist before the internet. This guy, you know what I mean? He was a child of the Black Panther movement. His aunt, I mean, is a child of Shakur, essentially the iconic figure, the inspiration for BLM. You know, and thank God for BLM, because I was against them, and I'm still not all for other things, but cops have cameras on their chest now, thanks to them. You know, so when everybody wants to hate them, if you're about forget the police state, you could thank them a little bit for some of the stuff they did to get cops to be scared to
accountability.
Yeah, accountability. There you go. And so Tupac's his mom was under surveillance. She was surveilled by the FBI. Tupac himself was surveilled by the FBI. So they claiming that he was a product of this same system, though. Like they propped him up and put out gangster rap and blah blah blah. So when it came to him, that's what really started to wake me up, because to conspiracy types, because I was like, hold up. And so then I started looking into JFK. You know, I've been looking into that lately, and I'm like, you know, I'm not like Don Jeffries level, but it could be as simple as he probably got killed by some mobsters. The guy was connected, his dad, the way they did it. You know, I'm getting to that point where, like, sometimes the initial story you hear is probably usually the truth. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but conspiracy theory will have you going out there and chasing down rabbit holes, and at the end of the day, you forget who you are.
Yeah.
You either become very extremely religious, or you lose religion at all. There's conspiracy theorists out there that say Jesus Christ is a conspiracy. You know, he was the son of some Roman emperor or something like that, you know. So what happens is you begin to lose yourself in the conspiracy. Before you know it, you're all conspiracy, and you don't know who you are. You become lost. You become detached. You don't trust nobody. You don't trust nothing.
You don't do nothing.
You don't do nothing. And at the end of the day, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, a great dude. I said this on other podcasts. What I've realized is that the true revolution is you. You are the revolution. These governments, they've been jacking us up since before Jesus was rebelling against the governments back then. You know, the Jews of that time had beef with the government. We're not going to fix this grand scheme of things, but we could fix ourselves and just do it generationally. The revolution is within. But when you're focused on what they're doing, you're not focused on what you got to do or who you are. What's your true purpose? Because we get a certain snippet of life and then we die. Imagine your whole life you spend it in conspiracy theories and you just vanish. You're gone. So it's like, I think sometimes they push this stuff so we could lose ourselves in the process.
No, I mean,
I don't know. I could be wrong though.
No. I think it's
maybe that's a conspiracy.
Either way, it's like it's a result. It's a byproduct of being in conspiracy, right? Like you shut yourself off from certain experiences because it's evil or it's Illuminati or whatever, right? And we believe these things, right? And you mentioned Tupac, and I know you're really passionate about that. And
hell yeah, dog, Tupac.
The main piece of evidence that at this point in time, right? I don't know what happens in the future, but the main piece of evidence at this point in time that they have for Tupac being gay is a video of him when he was young and he was kind of acting effeminate. That's it. That's all people need. That's all people. And they were like, didn't you see that? Well, that is not evidence of anything. It proves absolutely nothing, and disregarding all the evidence of him not being gay. And who gives a shit if he's gay anyway? But regardless, that's the thing around the alt media, right? They're like, oh yeah, he's gay. He has to be gay. Did you see that video? And that is the point that people hold on to. It was Kamala Harris. And I mention it on so many podcasts whenever at least it's not Kamala Harris. She's a whore. And then I asked them the question. I asked whomever said that the question, and they have nothing for me. But they still believe what they believe. Right? And I'm the crazy one. Well, how is she a whore? What evidence do you have to support that? Well, she's a whore. She was hanging out with Montel Williams in a picture. Oh, so she had sex with her boyfriend, is what you're telling me. And you don't even know that based on that picture. You have no idea what the hell went on. You're assuming you hate these people for whatever reason, and you hold on to that. You hold on to that. There is no evidence to prove what you were saying. None. 2020 election is another one. Nothing. but they hold on to it, no matter what. And
conspiracy pacified resistance during
absolutely.
2020, because when I was like amazed at the world. I was like, bro, are we literally going down with this stuff? Whether COVID was real or not, you don't give up your rights so easily. You know what I mean? I was running down the street in California yelling at houses, like Paul Revere, break out the guns. You in the house. They didn't even, I kept yelling, they didn't fire a single shot, and y'all bitches are in the house. So, all these little alpha males, nowhere to be seen. I know two dudes, DJ Casanova and Mr. Delgado, the only dudes in LA County. We was walking in the stores in LA County. It was very difficult. You walk, no mask, all that. And it wasn't because of COVID. It was about, you not going to tell me what to do, whether COVID is real or not. It was more of that, if it's real or not. It was more like, we're not going to bow down, because we bow down to this, it's just something next, So, but while I'm doing all this in the streets of LA, you got people like, I won't say their names, but they're over here. Trump's got a plan. They're rescuing the kids in the tunnels in New York, in the Central Park. Do you remember that? Like the Billy Graham, I think, or somebody was, or the son had like these tents in New York City, and they were setting up like for the COVID people, but for the medical.
I don't remember if it was Billy Graham, but I do remember tents and stuff. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, they were like, the conspiracy theorists were like, I heard there's a meteor coming to going to hit the planet. I heard that one. I heard that Trump was in the operation of rescuing kids. I heard Hillary is going to get locked up during this, and that he was cleaning up shop. All that's going on as tyranny is slow rolling. And I don't agree a lot with the rioting and looting of BLM and all that. And I ran through some protests too. And I remember, anyways, but like what I'm saying, like, and I did it by myself, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, man, I'm gonna wear this. It's fuck America. Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna wear that flag. And that's another thing I get mad about with Trump, because he done got patriots looking like MAGA type of stuff, where it's, anyways. So, but what I'm saying is, they actually, what BLM did should have been what a lot of people were doing, was taken to the streets. I'm not saying protests over Floyd or whatever. I'm saying push back against being locked down over whatever, even if it was a diabolical thing out there. You don't lose your rights.
As a result.
So it was, so shout out to them. But see, here's another thing. When BLM went out there, suddenly the rebels, the little rednecks with their guns, they were all like back to blue with "Don't tread on me" signs, and they had "Don't tread on me" mask. Like, it was like, that's like tits on a bull. You know what I mean? It's like, it don't even make sense. But that's what they did. And they did that to the resistance through conspiracy, because they gave you hopium through the conspiracy, because people are like, yo, we're getting locked down. What's this all about? And all of a sudden it's like, oh, don't worry, there's a plan. Before we wake up in time, the plan is we've already printed trillions of dollars, inflated everything, cut off supply chains, and then got everybody convinced to take a shot, whether the shot was dangerous. So that's another thing too. The 5 years have come. I'm waiting for all the dead bodies that I believe were going to happen. I was like, dude, in 5 years, they're all going to die. I'm not taking it. But now I'm like, dude, did I get played? I mean, I didn't get the shot, and I never will, because it was anything that's forced, I don't want. But, sometimes I think, like, did I get played? Did people really die from the shot? Or did people, you know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy.
We're all currently getting played. We're in one way, shape, or form. Just because we're over on YouTube, I'm not gonna dive too much into that aspect of things. With the in your arm, one of those. So just because we're over on YouTube, but that's another thing that we all got played on in a huge way. And there's even though I believe in people's rights to make your own decisions about your body, And that goes both ways for what the right believes and the left believes, right? It's none of your business. We should protect the rights of people to be able to do what they need to do medically. So that being said, there's a lot of misinformation going around that topic with what goes in your arm.
It was Tylenol.
That's another thing. And how many people wanted to believe the Tylenol bullshit? And then he came out and said, JFK, oh, it's not Tylenol. Like a month later, it's not what we said it was. And clearly it's not, because it's just nonsense. But this is the conspiracy theory administration. And it's not the good type of conspiracy either. They don't want to talk about the real conspiracy, not good, real. They don't want to talk about real conspiracy. They don't want to talk about the real mind control. They want, even people in our movement, they don't want to talk about real mind control, or they don't talk about real mind control. They want to talk about Dave McGowan's research. And I'm like, don't do that. All it's going to do is serve to discredit the good work that you are doing, because that is easily taken apart in a lot of ways. There's a lot of people that subscribe to Dave McGowan. I know Wheezy swears by him. He's like, that's where I got my information on the Lincoln assassination. Well, if that's where you're getting your information, it's probably wrong. At least your conclusions or what you're reaching to is probably wrong. That is not a base to start building a case. That's not a firm foundation. A lot of these things are like that. David Icke is the same way. And I was a David Icke mark. Like, I loved David Icke. I still love David Icke, but for very different reasons. I think David Icke is for real. I don't think he is an agent. I don't think he is, I think he's a real guy that believes these things. I think he's wrong about a lot of things that I used to subscribe to, or that I was at least giving attention to. Alex Jones, you can make an argument that the guy's a disinfo agent. Like, I can't defend his ass. I don't know him. I met him twice, I think, but I don't know the guy. So I can, given the crap that he's done on InfoWars, and the time that I spent watching InfoWars, and the turn that he's taken, he must. And I've spoken to David Knight. I've had firsthand accounts of what goes on over there. So I can believe that guy is on a different level. David Icke is not that, in my opinion. I just don't subscribe to what David Icke has put out, and I'm not using David Icke as information, as a citation on my paper to prove anything. I'm not going to do that, because people are going to chop it apart. Anybody that knows anything about the subjects that he is covering, they will chop it apart 8 times to Sunday. It's the same thing with Dave McGowan. Whom else do we have?
Bill Cooper.
Bill Cooper.
OG, don't speak about him.
And I love Bill Cooper. I could still go back and listen to old episodes of Hour of the Time, and it's fascinating. But he went back on some of the shit he believed himself. And there is the whole conspiracy theory of his death, because he died soon after 9/11, and he was the first to predict it, right? And say there's probably Osama bin Laden, that something was going. He was the first. Alex Jones took his entire shtick from Hour of the Time.
He called out Alex too, and
he did, yeah.
I heard that recording about Alex, and I was still a fan of Alex. But
me too.
Thing was
right.
filed in my head.
Right.
When Alex started acting funny, I went back to that file and I go, you know what?
Right.
I did say this about you, and then it started, and then it becomes like, oh, it's obvious. Then it becomes so obvious, and then you feel like, dude, I listened to you.
Right.
Oh my God.
Exactly what happened.
I was looking at people like, dude, these people are all sheep, bro.
Right.
They don't know anything, man.
Right.
Followers. Here I am. completely indoctrinated, walking off the cliff,
Right.
laughing at them because they walking off their own cliff, just to a different tune, So it's like, because even right now, so we talking Epstein. I'm seeing it on the left now, where it's like they're becoming the conspiracy. Theirs is a little bit more rooted in fact, though. But this is where I'm getting at is I think that this Epstein thing for the left is going to let them down too, because I think, and I told you this before, I think this is just Maxwell and family putting that pressure, slowly releasing these, and then they're trying to get that pardon.
Well, that's what it looks like, right?
And if he does that pardon, I'm sorry, the left, I don't think that you're going to get the justice that many on the right are now in disbelief for not getting. I think I could be wrong, but I think it might happen to the left where, because CNN and all these people, they had all this info. If you and I knew this about Epstein, they knew it too, but now they're releasing it, and it's just weird timing. It's like, dude, I mean, I'm not saying you had to go after Trump, but like, you guys went after this dude for everything, parking tickets and all that. Like, y'all ain't never mentioned Epstein until Ghislaine started calling for that pardon and better treatment in a different jail and all this. That's when it all popped off with, I guess Elon set it off when he did that tweet. And I wonder what that's all about. Because then you see Susie Wiles right now. She says one thing, recorded saying another. And then Trump, I've never seen him bow down to anybody's ego. And he was like, yeah, I'm like a drunk. Yeah, she's right. I was like, dude, she got the dirt, man. She got the Susie Wild files, like Epstein ain't got nothing on her,
right?
And even Epstein, in those recordings that I listened to, the guy said that Trump was the most vile man he's ever met. This is coming from a child sex trafficker. He's calling you the most evil dude he's ever met. I don't even understand that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what you did, Trump, but there is a gangster element to Trump. I mean, I know he's getting old. I know he's corny and all this, but to see so many politicians bow down, and people look at Marco Rubio as a joke or Ron DeSantis, but these are, to get to those positions, you ain't no punk. To become a senator, you gotta be a little sharp too. So I see these people bow down to Trump. So I'm like, man, this dude behind the scenes, he must have dirt on everybody. I don't know. And so it's like, it's kind of crazy, man. It's just, we're all becoming conspiracy theorists. Even the left, I see it with the Epstein stuff, and a lot of their stuff is rooted in facts, actually. But it's like that info, the establishment of the left, I guess, the Democrat establishment, they knew all this stuff too, but they're just releasing it now, which, you just become suspicious of everything, I guess. I mean, you wonder why, like, we watch Charlie. It's like they want you to become a conspiracy theorist. You see the murder of Kirk, and they release stuff out there that's just going to make you question it. Like, dude, what if they're trying to cover something up? They're not doing a good job at it. It's like they want you to become a conspiracy theorist. And I think the reason why they want you to become a conspiracy theorist is so you don't do nothing. And I'm not saying don't be a conspiracy. Yeah, question everything, because conspiracies are real. But to what extent do you go deep down these rabbit holes to where you're talking for 7 hours about the same subject, about it doesn't even matter what the subject is, you're not going to fix it or solve it. And, it's crazy. It's like we become paralyzed, as a people.
Right, man. No, you're absolutely right.
Hitler's a great person now, like the conspiracies got so deep that this dude is like, he great, like, hey, we need a Hitler. Like, are you serious? Man, you think Hitler's a good? I thought whatever happened to Mao took the guns, Stalin took the guns, Hitler took the gun. That used to be the conspiracy theorists. Now the conspiracy theorists like, no, we need a Hitler.
Yeah, let's throw up the Heil Hitler. That's become commonplace, and it's fine now. You mentioned what's this buffoon? I'm blanking on his name right now. Nick Fuentes, and how he's been normalized. And yeah, he's very charismatic and funny, but damn it, man, the stuff he says, how is that a thing? Right. And it's more normal for people to express themselves. And this is what I mean about the mask has fallen off of some of the people. So in some aspects, it is a good thing that this stuff has happened, because I'm like, you know what? I see you. I see you now, right? You can say whatever you want about me and the way I think and the turn I've taken, whatever. Say whatever the fuck you want, right? But I fucking see you, and I don't want anything to do with you, right? And even if I was involved in that realm at some point, it's something I don't want anything to do with at this point in time. I don't want anything to do with it. All right. I can't say that fully because I have friends that are involved that I still want to help, like extend a hand, like, come on, let's come out of this with me. Like, let's leave this alone. It'll make your research better. It'll make your credibility, it'll heighten your credibility. It'll put you in another playing field rather than talking this nonsense with the same people that want to hear it, and we need to like break away from that sort of stuff, man. What was this comment, man? This ain't Texas. 101 conspiracy theories will also change history too, for better or for worse. 100%. We have Donald Trump in the White House as a result of it, brother. As a result of this. So 100%, you're absolutely right. My man, John Brissom is in the chat. What's going on, my guy? We've read the documents. He has his YouTube channel back. Go over there and subscribe if you so choose. He says that David Icke is a theosophist, and it's his job to spread the false Great Awakening. And that's something that he and I disagree with. But I've met David Icke. I've been involved in that circle. So I'm like, okay, I don't believe David Icke has a job from anyone to spread anything. I think he truly believes this. What's up?
Well, this the thing, like David Icke or even myself and others, like what happens is your brain is like a computer, right? They always say. So you start to, if you click on a YouTube video, you'll start getting more of that. The algorithm was set for what you hit like on. And so it's the same thing with with like David Icke or anybody who's deep in it. What happens is your brain is like a computer, and it develops an algorithm. So you start feeding yourself everything you want to see. End times. If you want to see the end of the world, you're gonna see it.
Yeah, man.
If you want to see the beginning of time, you could prove it.
Yeah, man.
Today, you could see whatever. You want to see. I used to be into communism when I was like a teenager.
Right.
I saw the evils of capitalism everywhere. I saw it everywhere in the detail. And then I started running a business. I saw money making everywhere. You know what I mean? I was like, man, give me that Donald Trump book. I'm trying to be rich. And so it's like, and I lost my soul on both. You know what I mean? I was like, both I came up short.
Right.
And so when you're into you have to be honest with yourself to know that you're probably wrong about a lot of stuff.
Right.
And it's okay.
And it's okay.
It's cool. In fact, the more you admit it, the more alpha you actually are. Your balls are swinging when you admit, damn, I was wrong.
Yeah.
That's how you get respect from people. You do somebody wrong, you're like, hey, you know what, man, my bad. I was wrong. And even if I feel I wasn't wrong, I know you took it that I was wrong. So I apologize just for even making you feel that way. And what's up, brother?
100%.
Yeah. So
I'm right on it. 100%, man. It's tough to admit that you're wrong, but it's all right. It's okay. I got several years of work that I was totally wrong about. It's okay to say that you were wrong about Trump. It's all right. Right? It's okay to say, hey, maybe these people, man, maybe Jordan Maxwell was feeding us a bunch of nonsense. I did like 5 podcasts with Jordan Maxwell. I don't think he's a fraud. I just think he's wrong. He's a genius level intellect. The way he was able to roll things out, man. And some of the stuff is right, but I think largely he's wrong. You know, that man died, God bless his soul, in living in a garage somewhere. I think they had taken him out of the garage and he was living in a little small apartment like a small ass apartment. You would think if somebody was that type of disinformation agent that he's given a job to do certain things, that he'd be better off. He wasn't. He wanted to spread his knowledge because he legit, in my opinion, he legit thought it was real. And he was fascinating. It's incredible to talk to Jordan Maxwell. You know, but
He'll make you question the alphabet.
he'll make you question the letter A.
Yeah,
That is evil.
A.
What is it? You know, it's like,
Eight
nah,
goes
man.
into four
Right.
times 2. Like, bro,
Whoa.
like, and that's the way the brain. The brain is a powerful machine.
Right.
So you could see how people could get lost connecting dots because the dots are there to be connected. So, like, you're like, yeah, I could see this and this and that, this and that. But does it make? Here's one thing we do. I was listening to the OJ detectives, and he was like saying, as a detective, you have to prove your theory wrong and do everything possible to do that. And so when you're gathering evidence, when you have a suspect and you're gathering evidence, you got to grab that evidence and say, how does this prove this man is innocent?
Right,
you can't grab that evidence and say, how does this prove this man is guilty? Because you could easily do that. You could take evidence and easily shift it to look like guilt. You have to do your very best to argue against this evidence as proving this person guilty. You have to try to prove this person innocent. So like the moon landing and stuff, like, okay, they say we landed on the moon, and you say you accuse them. You're the accuser.
You're the accuser.
You accuse them of lying. Now it's on you to prove.
Right.
In a court of law,
simple.
you're the prosecutor. You're prosecuting NASA.
Right.
You're the prosecutor. They're the defendant. They just got to sit there and go, hey, you know, you accusing me, so prove that I'm lying.
Prove it.
And some people could say, I can prove this and prove that and prove that. And it's like, dog, at the end of the day, if you ain't sitting over there in the boardroom at SpaceX, like on that level of understanding, then I don't know. You know, you know, you're probably a little smarter than me, but you ain't that much smarter. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you might be brilliant, but you're not a genius.
You know, and that's what a lot of people in our community fail to realize. You know, you are making an accusation. You are claiming that these things are not the way the official story says it is, right? And even if that's true in some aspects of things, people in the alt media, and I'm generalizing here, there are some people that really dig, but people in the alt media typically regurgitate. They're not doing any real research. Somebody has done the research, like a Dave McGowan, although he might have been wrong, right? But he's done something. And these people read these books and say, this is what I am basing my stuff on. And then they call themselves researchers, right? And say, well, but you got all your stuff from Dave McGowan, you know, or you got all your stuff from David Icke. And David Icke got all his stuff from go see Brissom, where David Icke got all his stuff from. Because David Icke is a regurgitator also, passed off as a researcher. There's no, well, I don't know if all of his work, but a lot of his work isn't original. It's a regurgitation of something, you know, of somebody else that came up with some nonsense, you know, and people believe it. Alex Jones could be looked at as a little bit different. But it was a lot of disinformation going on there. Jordan Maxwell, God bless him. Jordan Maxwell learned from, what's his name? The Freemason that everybody talks about. I'm blanking on his name. What's up?
I know. Oh, man, I know who you're talking about, too.
Brissom, what's his name?
Prince Hall, or no, not that.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm blanking on his name. Brissom, what's his name? Brissom knows.
You know, the thing is, there's some stuff that, like the moon landing, me personally, I'm like, I think that it's a high probability we didn't land. I'm just not going to die on that hill. Like, man,
I mean, maybe we didn't make it to the moon. I don't know enough to say it. I don't know enough to say that we did or we didn't, and neither do half of the people that are talking about it. You know, so it's like, where are we leading here? Anyway, Manly P.
remember
Hall. There it is.
Manly
Boom.
P. Hall.
Manly P. Hall.
I
Right.
said
That's what,
Prince, but yeah,
yeah, I know what you
Manly
meant though.
P. Hall.
It was
Yeah.
Manly P. Hall was the guy. That.
Bill Cooper had beef with Maxwell too.
Yeah, they were on each other's shows, but they had beef also, man. Anthony Hilder was another guy. He might have been an actual researcher, Anthony Hilder, but I love Anthony Hilder. I loved these guys.
Well, according to Dave McGowan, the greatest house band in the world is the CIA.
Yeah.
They created and I got deep into the Dave McGowan, the Laurel Canyon stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to the point where I could not, I lost my soundtrack to life. I lost everything. The Doors, Rage Against the Machine, I lost everything. The Mamas and the Papas, I lost all of that. I would run miles and listen to music and just go, man, this beautiful view with this music, it's perfect and all this. And then I got into him and I lost my soundtrack. It made me empty until I said, you know what? I don't even care if these people were controlled. I'm going to listen to the art and I'm going to interpret it my own way. And I'm going to see it as that. And I'm going to re-embrace what I grew up to love. And you helped me with the Rage Against the Machine because I was mad during 2020. I was like, man. But even looking into that, you know what? About that, a lot of it, they didn't even have control over a lot of what was going on.
Let's not talk about it. I know where you're going, but you know where we're at. So let's not talk about it. But you're good, man. But yeah, man. Oh, don't listen to Rage Against the Machine because they're socialist and X, Y, and Z and all that. Fuck all that shit. I'm going to Madison Square Garden and I'm going to see my favorite fucking band and it's going to be dope. I'm going to listen to the Doors and I'm going to listen to the Beatles. And there is little to no proof that all of this was made by the CIA or any other institution out there. That it was music made by the government and they put these bands together to bring this to you in some type of. There's almost no proof of it, no proof. But we want to believe this stuff. I fell into it. I'm good friends with I shouldn't even mention his name actually because I don't want to discredit. Not to discredit, but it's like I don't want to. And that's the fucked up part. But I could tell him, I guess, that I think he's wrong. Mark Devlin is my guy. I love Mark as a person, but I think he's wrong about a lot of things, But I used to listen to him and be like, damn, like I got to put things together. And I'm like, this doesn't really make sense, but Mark is probably right. And I would do that, and you mentioned something about alpha male. So I definitely want to play these people getting their ass whooped, at least clips of them before we go off the air. But I do want to address something that John said in the chat, because he's right. And not that I'm missing the spiritual aspect of it, but the spiritual aspect of it is what kept me in the rabbit hole for as long as it did. Because I was more open to believing these things because I thought there was a spiritual war going on. And the evil forces were doing this. And even if that's true, we have zero evidence to prove that out. No one can do it. No one can do it because it's a spiritual thing and that's based on belief.
So
what's up?
Are you saying that like it's because the powers that be have a spiritual belief that is?
I don't know. I mean, it might go into demonic possession, which we can't prove, or it might go into what people are saying that it's generational, that they have this belief of X, Y, and Z. Because I used to believe that it was handed down like Christianity.
Like they sacrifice kids for energy and like that. Yeah.
Right. I used to believe in the possibility of it.
I didn't question how bad the child stuff is really. It's like, I know it happens, but like how, sometimes these guys are just selfish, brain dead people. Like a guy like Trump. I mean, is he like worked in conspiracy? Or he's just like some dude in the flesh, living as a materialistic man, just trying to get the most out of what he could get in life. And like, is it a plan? Is he's just like a useful idiot, or I know there's never been a moral government ever in the history of man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like
Right.
the Romans were corrupt, the Greeks, the Chinese, it's like, so this is nothing new to humanity, but to us, I guess we have access to the internet. And that's when this conspiracy stuff took a new level, when
Right.
everybody would click on something, research it, and or look into it and call themselves a researcher. And you read something on the internet, you're like, hey, dude, guess what I read? And it's
Right.
like these forums and all this stuff. And it's like, all this stuff has been happening since the beginning, and
Yeah, man.
it's like, what really changes? And I think it's just yourself. You
Yeah.
can't even change your kids.
No.
If you tell your kids stuff, that they do what they want to do sometimes.
Right.
And it's
Right.
like,
You have to come to the realization. No one could tell me any different for years and years and years. I had to come to the realization. And that's what I say. Like God gives you the tools. It's up to you to use them. God gives you everything that you need to succeed, but you have to do it. No one else can do it for you. You have to do it. Don't take the onus off of you and put it on God. God gave you the tools. You handle your business. And it took me. It was only going to be me. There was no one else that was going to tell me any different. I had to come to that realization. You had to come to that realization on your own terms, on your own timeline. Nobody was going to tell you any different, Twisted, right? And that's the same thing that's going on with everyone else. And one day they'll probably look back at what we were talking about today and say, oh shit, I get it now. I get what they were trying to say. But what is going to cause that to happen? I don't know. It's unique. It is like a fingerprint. It is exclusive to the person. You are the only one that can do it. No one can do it for you. So
some of the conspiracy stuff gets us to shoot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah.
We talk about like the Federal Reserve a lot, and I'm to the point where like, man, I live in a house because of credit. I couldn't get this with my gold. You know what I mean?
Man,
I'm too broke to think like that. And I'm like, is it that evil? I got a loan from a bank. It's up to me what I do with that loan. I could go into bad debt or build upon this debt and turn it into good debt, because there is a such thing as good debt that helps you build on it. Right. So, and this anti-Federal Reserve stuff, it comes from the conspiracy realms.
I was so hoping. I was so hoping. And it's funny that you bring that up, because Karen talks about Peter Beater. What's up, Karen? How are you? Greetings and blessings to you. One of my favorite people in the world.
Don't be a Peter Beater out there, people.
I love Peter Beater. I love Peter Beater. And unfortunately, I discovered Peter Beater. Well, maybe fortunately, I discovered Peter Beater while I was already climbing out the rabbit hole. So I thought it was nonsense, but it's so entertaining. It's so old school. This dude is so charismatic, and it's like old school conspiracy. He has the voice. He talks like this, and the Russians and the robotoids, and it is so fascinating, So I loved Peter Beater, but Peter Beater was instrumental in pushing the conspiracy theory about Fort Knox, that all the gold was gone from Fort Knox, right? We have no evidence of it. Zero. We actually have evidence that it's still there. Right? I can produce evidence, that freaking video evidence, but people will just say, oh, those are bricks that were painted that look like gold. That gold is not really there. They'll look for some way to rationalize it. Regardless, Peter Beater was instrumental in pushing that narrative that there was nothing in Fort Knox. And for a while, Elon Musk was talking about going down to Fort Knox, and Trump. And they were going to, audit it and open it up and show it to everybody. I'm like, I'm dying for them to do it, but they never did.
They probably saw the gold and they're like, hey,
there really is gold in here. Let's not talk about that shit. Let's go that way, But they were talking about it for a bit, and Peter Beater was one of the pillars of that theory, if not the pillar of the theory. Don't quote me on it, Karen, but definitely he was one of the pillars of that theory becoming popularized. What's up? I thought you were going to say something.
Well, some of the things that the conspiracy theorists fear the most, they're actually manifesting it through their conspiracy beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, like we fear this dictatorial, new world order government, police in the streets, and that's what gave us Trump.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of, especially these listeners and others, there's people that were obviously awake to Trump, But what I'm saying is like what was old school conspiracy to you is new stuff to these new people. Like you brought up Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
His big thing is leave the Matrix, leave the Matrix. Like people like quote the Matrix. Like aren't the directors of the Matrix like women now or something like
Yeah,
that? Like
yeah.
it's like, you know what I mean? It's like it's like the red pill, the blue pill. You know, it's like I don't pop pills. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's like the stuff we fear the most, we end up manifesting. And it's like, for instance, we all fear digital currency. Well, keep talking bad about the Federal Reserve and all that, because that cash that you hate is going to, you know, when people like Elon start advocating for this abolition of the Federal Reserve, you should start questioning that. And yesterday, you know, Don had that guest, I forget his name, Patrick something.
Patrick Wood.
And he was talking about the AI technocracy. And what it is, a lot of the AI bros, they hate the Federal Reserve. So I started questioning, like, you know, and I know Tony he's the best, and Tiger, they're the best when it comes to talking about the Federal Reserve. But sometimes I wonder, yeah, it's not perfect, it's not good, but what's the alternative to it? You know what I mean? It might be worse. So
No,
sometimes
absolutely.
we get, you know, the grass ain't always greener.
And we've been led down the road, man. We've been led down the road. My guy Dustin Helm is in the chat. That's my dude. Mystery school level intellect in the guy. He agrees with John. He thinks David Icke is a grifter, and I can understand why people think that. I think David Icke works really hard for his money. I think he works really hard for his money. I saw him give twice, maybe 3 times, but definitely twice. I saw him give an 8-hour speech. Okay, that's not easy to do. And you know, what's up, buddy?
I was gonna say, if you really look at Melania and Trump, they do have those lizard eyes. So
you know, and that's the thing. Somebody in the chat was like, "You believe that shit? You believe?" I didn't necessarily fully believe it, but I was ready to believe it. I had my eyes and ears wide open to it. I'm like, you know what? These people could be freaking reptilians. You know, they really could be. There's no evidence for it. There's snakes all over the symbols of cultures, right? And but each of those representations have different meanings to different cultures, you know. And the shape-shifting thing, how is anybody going to prove that? You know, how's anybody going to prove that? And it's like, this is ridiculous after a while, right? But it was entertaining, and I wanted my belief in the supernatural. It was like a gateway drug to believing stuff like that. You know, without really questioning, right? You just believe it because it's like, of course, it could be a thing. You know, but I can understand why people think he's a grifter. I get it. I saw him make radical turns. And so if he's a grifter, he's taking some radical turns on his beliefs. I don't think he cares. I want to say that I know that he doesn't give a shit what people think of him. But he's I think I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for David Icke. It's my guy. You know, even though I think 95% of his work is wrong, you know, and I have all of it, not all of his books because he's put out, but I have a ton of his books, and I'm never going to get rid of them. Like, I love them, and I might read them after the fact, you know, and just go back and read Children of the Matrix. It's fucking dope. It's a dope book. I got it for Christmas one year, you know, or 9/11, Alice in Wonderland and the World Trade Center disasters. That book, bro, I had to tape it together because it fell apart. I used to carry it with me everywhere I went and read it. And, you know, it scared the shit out of me at the time, you know, and a lot of that information is wrong. Some of it is right, though, you know, but he sells books. I don't know. I've seen people be legit grifters, legit, like Andrew Kaufman, right? Charging $1,000 for 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah. That's the supplement guy.
Right. He'll fix your exosomes, right? Because for COVID, that doesn't exist. But at that time it did, and he will fix your exosomes for $1,000 for 30 minutes. So I mean, there are real grifters out there. I don't know if David is one of them, but I could be wrong, guys. So it is what it is. I respect Don and I respect Dustin very much. What's up, buddy? What were you saying?
Peter McCulloch, right? I mean, during the 2020 incident, he was selling supplements that could get rid of the spike in your blood.
All that bullshit.
And I was like, oh, look, I was like, I might need this. If you listen to Jeff Rentz, and Jeff Rentz is saying we're all infected because they breathe on you, and you're, dude. I was living in a house that had a lot of mold at the time too, so I kept getting sick. I was like, bro, these people, man, they're breathing on me. You know what I mean? Like these injected people. And then I moved into a new house. I'm like, I ain't been sick since. And I was like, dude, it was that mold, man. But I was like convinced,
and these people don't have a clue. Jeff Rentz is not a doctor. Doesn't have a fucking clue. Not a clue. Andrew Kaufman was a psychologist. He didn't have a fucking clue what he was talking about. Not a clue. All these people that popularized terrain theory, they don't have a clue what the fuck they're talking about. They just wrote a book on something that they believe, but I don't know, they work on writing books. They're authors. They don't know anything about the actual subject matter, right? They know what they've read that fits into the belief system that they currently have. They know that. They can sit down and talk to you and defend their points based on what they've read and what they believe. But actual evidence, they don't really have that. They
try to prove their conspiracy instead of disproving it to themselves.
Exactly. They argue in search of evidence.
Yes.
They start from a point where, damn, this is bad. Let me prove how it's bad. And like you said, if you want to find something, you're going to find it. It's all based on your perspective a lot of times, but is it factual? Can it be backed up by actual evidence? And that's the deficiency that we have here in the alt media is evidence. We don't know what it is, apparently.
We don't need to know what it is. It's just what you feel. It's like, I just know.
Yeah, I just know, therefore.
That's a quote. I'm looking at a shirt. It's a real quote. People, we should get a shirt. I just know.
I just know.
I could just tell.
Be like, I subscribe to that.
Imagine if our legal system worked that way. How many innocent people would be in prison? Well, you look like a bank robber because I could just tell.
I could tell. You're going to jail.
And
people told me that evidence didn't matter, bro. They told me, dude, evidence doesn't. Why are you so on several occasions? People in the chat in America Unplugged, I go on people's shows and they'll tell me, why does evidence matter so much to you? I'm like, really? Are we having this conversation? That's an automatic, peace. Even when I was in the rabbit hole, I thought I was getting evidence, but I wouldn't say, why does evidence matter to you? Somebody tells me that. I'm like, what do you mean? Why does evidence matter to me? I'm like, I got a unicorn in my closet right now. He's a little guy. He's a little unicorn. I found him in the corner of 56 and Park, Manhattan. He was just hanging out. And I was like, oh shit, it's a mini unicorn, motherfucker. So I picked him up and I put him in my pocket. I left him there. I left the unicorn in my pocket and I did my laundry and I forgot I had put him in there. So I was like, oh shit, man, the unicorn is dead. So I pulled out my pants and I took out the unicorn and he was like pretty hot because I put him in the the cycle to heat him up, to make my pants not wet anymore. The unicorn was in there and I thought it was dead, but I also found a 4-leaf clover right next to him. And I took that 4-leaf clover and I put it on over the unicorn and the unicorn is now alive and it's sitting in my closet. I keep it there, I don't need any evidence to prove that. That shit is real. Prove me wrong. It's up to you to prove me wrong. And that is what this is when you tell me that evidence doesn't matter. And I've been told this by seemingly smart people. Bro. Why does evidence matter so much to you? We know who these people are. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? At that point, you should just stop. Anybody that you just, okay, I can't listen to this. Why am I listening to this? I'm wasting my time because This guy doesn't believe in evidence. So I got to go. You understand? So, I mean, that's a deficiency here in the alt media, man. And like I said, man, I fell subject to a lot of bullshit for a lot of years. And I can't pinpoint how I came out of it, but it happened, and I'm thankful to the Lord for it. I love where I am. Hopefully I'll continue to evolve and get better at life. Right? I hope so. You know, and you have done the same. And in many ways, you know, I definitely respect what you've done, and I try to apply some of the things you do in your life for me, because I'm like, all right, like, how can I get better at these certain things? You're better than me at some things. And I'm like, I want to be that. Right. So I want to get to that point. I don't know if I ever will, but I want to. So I'm going to try, you know, and that's what I ultimately want for all of us. Like when I question you about, and this is to people that are near and dear to me, like Karen Carpenter. I love Karen Carpenter. Love her. And I think she does great work, you know? So when I question you about some things, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not. I just want to see you leave that shit alone. Some of this stuff, you know, and Ashley is the same way. Ashley is freaking no joke, man. You know, she's like the total package. So sometimes I'm like, hey, you said X, Y, and Z, you know? And I'm like, and I tell her, I'm like, listen, because I don't want to be that guy, although I am, but I don't want to be that guy that's always like, hey, listen, maybe my Guard Goldsmith. I love Guard. I still got to hit him up about that clip that he played on his show this week, which was totally wrong about USAID. And I want to hit him up and tell him, and Guard is very receptive to whenever I point something out to him, you know, and he'll do the same to me. He's like, hey, Billy, look at this way. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. I don't get defensive about it. Even if it hurts, right? It hurts that you went on air and said some bullshit, right? And then somebody proves you wrong. It's like, ugh. But I'm like, no, thank you for taking the time to hit me up and tell me, hey, Billy, you're wrong about these things. I get more people hitting me up trying to prove the conspiracy, right? I get more of that. And I appreciate that too. You know, I appreciate your concern. Because if you're hitting me up to try to, you know, you obviously care for me in some capacity, because I feel like you're trying to do the right thing. Although it's a lot of this stuff is very disrespectful that I get in the mail, you know, but I want people to prove me wrong if I am wrong, right? Because I want to be right about these things. I don't want to be wrong, right? And especially I don't want to disseminate bad information. My opinions are my opinions, but when it comes to factual things, I don't want to disseminate bullshit. So when to my people, if you're still in my circle, I love you and I look up to you, because I cut a lot of people off. So if I'm still like, hey, you might want to rethink this, is because I care. And I see potential, or I see something in you that I want in me, you know. And so John Brissom, we've gotten into knockdown dragouts over some of this stuff, and he tells me what he wants me to do and what he thinks, and I know it's because he loves me. I vehemently disagree with a lot of it, you know, but I keep John around. Right. Tony Arterburn is a saint. I think Tony and I wildly disagree on some things. I think Tony's a saint. I love Tone. Don Jeffries is another one. Don and I disagree on the majority of things. Actually, we're starting to agree on a lot of things now. You know, he's coming around, you know, and I love it when he comes around on some things, because people will take information from Don that they wouldn't take from me. You know, because Don Jeffries is a legend in these circles. So when they hear Don make a turn, it'll click a little bit more than Billy Ray Valentine, who lives in New York. because they can easily shut me off because I live in New York and I'm a wild liberal for them. Don Jeffries doesn't live in New York. Don Jeffries isn't a liberal. I wouldn't call myself a liberal either, but you guys won't believe it, so it doesn't matter. But no, so I don't want to be that guy. You know, with Jason Barker, we go back and forth on some things. With Angry Tiger, you know, we go back but I see value in these people. My circle is very small now, but I'm happy about that. And it's hard for me to let people in because most people just don't have your best interest at heart. You know, so I've been very gullible in my life, and I don't want to continue to be that way. Although I am sure I'll be taken for a ride several times. But anyway, and if you're still here listening to me, if you're still, and there are some people that have been listening from the beginning, from when I started the Infinite Fringe, and they're still around today, and I'm like, my gosh, like I so appreciate them. And even if you're a newcomer and you vibe with what I'm saying, thank you for tuning in whenever you do. I appreciate you. I need to see you guys there, you know, so it gives me motivation to continue to push. Because sometimes I just want to abandon this shit altogether. Right? I got a ton of work to do right now. I'm going to eat dinner and then I got to just get to work. And part of that is my procrastination, but I've been really busy this week to the point that I couldn't do America Unplugged. But we need to abandon a lot of these beliefs, and we need to show we need to become the real truth movement. We need to be that. We need to be the example for those that are so deep in the rabbit hole and that are unwillingly spreading the disinformation and the misinformation. There are some people that are willingly spreading it, and there is no saving. Well, I can't say there's no saving, but they're harder to save. That's beyond my pay grade. That's up to God. Right? I don't know what to do about those people. But people that are true believers, you can plant a seed and walk away, and eventually they have to do the work. You have to do the work. It's the end of it. So love everybody. Twisted, you are the dude. Let me play this real quick, and then we're getting out of here. I want to play the alpha male, Top G. This is Top G, Andrew Tate, who made a living out of getting people to subscribe to him to teach them how to be an alpha male. This is how fucking deluded this shit is, that this guy, okay, this is the guy. And he must believe his own bullshit to step into the ring and be arrogant enough to think he can pull this off against the guy that, I mean, he was throwing some wild. I mean, if you know anything about fighting, you watch this fight, it's like, what the fuck is going on here? It was one of the sloppiest things I've ever seen in my life. But Top G got his ass handed to him, and good. I am glad he got his ass handed to him. He was already making excuses afterwards. I'm 40. I'm this. I'm that. But he wasn't telling that to all the people he was grifting. You want to talk about a grifter? This is him. He made his fortune talking dirty to dudes over the phone. This is admitted. He got women to talk dirty to dudes over the phone, and he was telling them everything they needed to say. He would listen in on the phone call, and he would tell the girl what to tell the guy. And he's proud of this. He's proud. This is how he made his money. He's also wanted for sex trafficking, if I'm not wrong. I might be wrong about the charge, but Romania ain't fucking around. They want to put him in jail. Of course, Donald Trump allows people like that in the United States, but he's waging an immigration war on everyone else that he doesn't like. But Andrew Tate, that's fine. No problem. But anyway, let's show the clip of this guy getting his ass whipped. Look at Top G. Look at Top G on his knees. On his knees.
Pink gloves. Got beat up with pink gloves.
This dude got pink gloves on. Like you said. I mean, if this isn't the ultimate slap in the face or punch in the mouth, fuck. A dude with pink gloves on is giving the business to Top G. Talk about an alpha male. Boom. And there he is on his knees.
The MAGA movement.
Very nice, right? That's the representation of MAGA right now. They love Andrew Tate. They love everything he had to say, you know, and what he represented, and teaching men how to be real men, how to get out of the matrix.
The thing about him, Billy, is that Candace Owens, we go back to Tupac. she's the one that pushed that Tupac. There's a ton of footage of Tate doing feminine things, sparring, walking, real feminine. But she has that guy on her show.
Right.
She promotes him. Don't say nothing. But Tupac, right, a true hero to the downtrodden across the globe, is gay because of a 30-second clip that he wasn't even, you know. So that's conspiracy for you.
People want to believe it. People want to believe these things. And here is another one.
Disney
Jake Paul. Jake Paul. Ultra MAGA Jake Paul. Ultra dumbass too. Made millions and millions and millions of dollars beating up on people that were washed up over the hill. And listen, I'll give him a little bit of credit for fighting Julio Cesar Chavez, even though he was way over his prime. But still, that was a pro fighter at one point, and he beat him. But I mean, to think you can step into the ring with a guy like Anthony Joshua, bro. I mean, good. How delusional do you have to be?
That clout. Hell of a drug.
And people will say, well, he made $91 million. This dude nearly lost his life last night. Okay. I'm almost done, babe. I'm telling them about Top G getting knocked out. My wife is telling me to get off because she made that.
Talk to her like Top G, man.
I got to talk to her like Andrew Tate would. Be like, listen.
Get back in the kitchen.
Get back in the kitchen and cook me my stuff. All right? Let me tell her right now. Hey! I'm looking to get my ass kicked tonight.
She's going to do you like Jake Paul.
For real. She's going to hit me with a pink glove. Hey, don't you tell me to stop. I'm really asking for it at this point.
Matrix.
So here goes Jake Paul getting his jaw broken in several places, biting off way too much. I couldn't be happier that this happened, bro. I'm happy he's still alive, because he very easily could have died. This guy is a monster, a literal monster. Like Jake Paul's face came to his shoulder, cut up like nobody's business is Anthony Joshua. I mean, like a literal monster of a man.
Gold medalist.
Let's look at this. Toma. Jesus, hold on. We need some audio for that. Oh, look, that's when his life left his body. His soul left his body at one point. And what's up with these people getting on their knees? Hold on.
Boxing fans got the result they were waiting for. The event pulled insane attention, and while most people were just watching clips and arguing online, a small group of creators were quietly cashing in. One faceless page posted multiple short videos about the fight, pulled millions of views.
See from behind me, this is a recreation of the tent where Charlie Kirk lost his life at Utah University in September, and people are taking selfies with it. From behind
that was a bizarre one.
I was trying to get rid of this because that's not the point. It's the point of this video, this clip that I got. There might be another one. I wanted to see Top G get his ass whooped. Hold on for a second. Not that we already saw Top G. I want to see the polls.
He always says his dad was CIA. Tate, he always says that.
Yeah, he does.
I wonder if it's true, you know.
Probably. Here's AI robots. My gosh, we're going to cover that next time. These robots doing all types of crazy shit. It's over, guys. It really is. I thought I had another Jake Paul here. Here's some Epstein photos that we'll get into. All right. I don't have another one. So we're going to have to watch this clip. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it again.
Oh, Jeffrey. The ear, man, the ear was different.
Yo, how long was this clip? Jesus. Hold on. They're talking about how to make money, but because they inevitably people made money off of this event, which is whatever. But I don't want to talk about all that. I just want to see. Here we go.
Just ended the Jake Paul experiment, and boxing fans are celebrating everywhere.
Boom.
For years, people wanted to see Jake step in with a real heavyweight in his prime, take a real beating, and finally get tested. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, there's more footage, but I had a better clip. I can't find it. But that's it. He got his ass kicked too. Something nasty, something disgusting, a serious ass whooping. I mean, this dude was in another dimension, bro. This guy didn't know what hit him. He knew what hit him, but at the time he had no idea. He's like, I'm in a freeway and a truck just hit me. And it was beautiful to watch because these are the fake alpha males. These are what the people are saying that you should look up to. I got one more thing before I get out of here that I need to play. Hopefully I had the clip. I didn't see it when I was rolling through this, but Nicki Minaj was talking some craziness on Turning Point USA, saying that Donald Trump is handsome and that J.D. Vance is a killer of sorts. He said that he's the assassin, that he's that good looking.
The eyeliner, man,
and saying that these are the people that you should be looking up to. Man, I'll play that next week.
Didn't her boyfriend or baby daddy get pardoned by Trump or something like that?
Maybe he pardons everybody that he shouldn't be pardoned. So
$2 million a pardon. That's what he's charging. $2 million.
Anyway, I'm getting out of here. It's time to go. Otherwise, my wife is gonna do me like Jake Paul got done. And I'll post pictures.
You better start reading your Andrew Tate books, dude.
Seriously, man, I'm gonna freaking throw him some money so he could teach me how to be an alpha male. 100. Tell the people where they can find you, Twisted. What's up?
You can find me running down the road somewhere, yelling freedom. That's all I do. Trying to connect with me and God. Just the revolution is yourself. Right. Be better than what you were yesterday.
Right.
Don't worry about all these other people. Can't change them.
Absolutely. 100%, man. My name is Billy Ray Valentine. Check me out. You know, wherever I do my thing, man. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube, The Gorilla Underground. We're gonna try to push through on some of this stuff. In 2026, let's see what develops, and hopefully we can get some shit done. But I'm telling you now, I lack the ambition and the motivation that I once had. Although I still enjoy talking to you guys, you know, which is what keeps me going. You know, it's fun. So, but I don't have the same drive I used to. What were you gonna say, buddy?
Another thing is, life is good. Everybody out there, life is good. No matter fantastic. How bad, even when it's bad, life is good.
I agree.
Both, you know, conspiracy or normie world, mainstream, they get you to become negative. Life is good. You're breathing. You ahead of the game.
Absolutely.
Life is broke, no money, all the money. Life is good. Life
excellent,
is good.
Excellent advice, man. Excellent point to close out to. It's true. Appreciate the good and appreciate the bad, because the bad is what makes you who you are. Learn those lessons and you know, thank God for the bad, even though it's gonna suck. Nobody says that you need to enjoy it, but thank God for it, you know, and say, you know what, thank you for this experience, because at the end of the day, it's beautiful. It's just the experience that we get to have as human beings. It's a privilege, in my view, to be here and be able to feel and to touch and to taste and smell and to experience love and also to experience pain, you know, and hurt. These are things that aren't pleasant, but they are essential in the growing process. So while they might suck and I may not want them, I always thank God for them. I also ask God not to test me in that manner. But if the Lord sees fit to do so, I can't do anything about it. So I'm going to accept it and try to learn from it and enjoy the process. Although it may suck and it may not be anything to enjoy, but I'm going to try. at the very least. So thank you for those parting words, Twisted. We're getting up out of here. We'll see, we'll see you guys next week, Lord. No. I will not be on Sunday next week. It's not happening. Maybe Monday or Saturday night, but Sunday, it's not going to work. It's the Guerrilla Underground. Love you guys. We appreciate you. Take it easy now. Bye-bye. We're still on the air.